Good afternoon. Thanks very much for joining us. Welcome to North London. Welcome to the home of English football for the second FA Cup semi-final of this weekend. Tim Sherwood knows that in just his 10th match in charge of Aston Villa, he can take them closer to the FA Cup final today, where they could lift their first FA Cup trophy in 58 years. Meanwhile, for the romantics who are turning up here today from Merseyside, wouldn't they love Steven Gerrard on his final appearance for Liverpool on his 35th birthday to lift this trophy? It's two Premier League sides who spent the majority of the season at differing ends of the table coming together. And it's the old cliche, isn't it? We've said it before and we've seen the evidence. League position counts for very little in a cup battle. Kick-off, with so much at stake, is under an hour away. Big day for the clubs, big day for the fans as well. And you can see here famous old Wembley Way full of Villa and Liverpool fans wandering along, wondering who's going to face Arsenal in the final at the end of next month. And alongside me, four men who've been lucky enough to play here and lift a trophy here. Lovely to see you all. Thanks for joining us for this semi-final. Look, we've seen the fans arrive and we know how special this day is for them. What's going on right now in those two dressing rooms?
Well, it's exciting, isn't it? I mean, it's in trepidation, it's a bit of nerves. It's coming to Wembley is different to any other place. You know, the stadium, the dressing rooms are huge. You want to have a look round as well as get prepared for the game. So there's a lot of emotions going through, and obviously there's a big prize on stake to come back here in a month or so's time to compete in probably the biggest game, individual game, cup competition, knockout competition in the world.
OK, let's quickly bring you bang up to date then with the very latest team news. Daniel Sturridge not fit enough to travel with the squad today for Liverpool, but the change for them is that Steven Gerrard, after his 3-match ban, you can see him getting off the coach just after Brendan Rodgers. There's the man who's made the big decision, and the big decision is that Steven Gerrard starts the game today. Probably safer to start him than having him starting on the bench after what happened in the last match. Big news, big decision. Is it the right one?
Well, I think it's the right decision. I think Lucas Leiva's carrying a little bit of a knock, to be very honest, Jake. So the decision probably wasn't as hard to make for Brendan Rodgers as we thought so. But for me, forget sentimentality, forget romanticism. He should have played anyway. He's arguably Liverpool's best player. I know he's been missing for the last 3 games through suspension. But for me, get your best players down. Scales just walk right back into the team, and so should Steven Gerrard. Yeah,
Daniel Sturridge not fully fit. He hasn't been fully fit all season, really. But how much of a blow that he can't be involved at all today, even off the bench?
Yeah, it's a big blow, but I think Sterling, if he plays in that centre-forward position, is a real threat. Running behind his pace, and with Steven Gerrard in the team, he can find him with them passes. And I think Gerrard's got the capability, probably the only one in Liverpool's team, to hit them 40, 50-yard passes to Sterling.
I don't think it's much of a problem, because if anything, Liverpool have been playing their best football, certainly with Raheem Sterling up top. Yeah. When Daniel Sturridge played, and Coutinho and Sterling in the same team, they were trying to fit them in, and sometimes it took something away from Sterling. So I think as a focal point, he'll be certainly more dangerous. OK, well, there is a bit of firepower on the bench for them. Mario Balotelli is on the bench today for Liverpool.
Talking about Aston Villa, well, I'm afraid to say it's more bad news as far as a striker's concerned, and arguably this is more of a blow for Aston Villa than for Liverpool losing Sturridge, and that's that Gabby Agbonlahor is also not fit enough to even make the bench today. The other changes for them, Carlos Sanchez is suspended, Ashley Westwood is in, Nathan Baker's in for Kieran Clark. That's his first start since January. And Shay Given in goal. We'll get David talking about what a big day it is for Shay Given. And Zogby is also involved today. We expect him to be playing in the hole. How much of a miss, Gabby Agbonlahor? Arguably more than Daniel Sturridge.
He is, in a way. I mean, Daniel Sturridge is obviously a top player, but he's not been on top form at the moment, so I don't think he's a huge miss in current form. Gabby Agbonlahor is a big miss. His pace is vital, and they've struck up a real understanding, haven't they, him and Benteke. The only positive I would say is that in him not playing, they're going to put an extra midfield player in, and when you've got Gerrard and Allen and Henderson and Coutinho and all these players, it's got a strong midfield for Liverpool with numbers, and I almost think just adding an extra body in there might just help Aston Villa contain Liverpool a little bit.
OK, going to be plenty of threat as far as Liverpool are concerned. Aston Villa have got to contain that, and the man in goal, Shay Given, weird, on loan last season, came back, ended up as one of the coaches, and now he's playing in a cup semi-final.
Oh, it's fantastic. With 39 years old tomorrow.
That's young for a keeper, as you know, J-Mo, eh?
He was younger than I was when I was playing in the semi-final and the final. But, yeah, I mean, outstanding goalkeeper throughout his career. And, obviously, Tim stuck with him in the FA Cup, where he's made all his appearances, bar one in the League Cup this season. I say 39 years old, got experience, 5th semi-final for him. and an opportunity, obviously, to take Villa, as you said at the start of the show, 58 years since they won the FA Cup, so it'll be a massive day for them.
Yeah, Aston Villa looking to him with a bit of experience. That's probably going to be the role, I imagine, today, actually,
Yes.
for Steven Gerrard as well, isn't it? You know, a chance today to go out there and show, which he didn't necessarily show when he came off the bench and got sent off so quickly.
No, yeah.
A captain's role model.
Well, he's done it many, many times before. In every cup final he's played in, he's been man of the match, he scored goals. So this is a man, I know this is not a cup final, it's a semi-final, but he's been on the biggest stages and the biggest occasions in every cup competition and performed well. And there's going to be a lot of players here on both sides of the pitch. Listen, whatever you think about it, this is a huge special day. This is a special stadium. There's players who've never witnessed these type of games, been on this pitch, and they have to rise to the occasion. We've seen players melt in other times. So if you come here, you have to play well in front of this wonderful crowd. Steven Gerrard, Shay Given have got a big
If I
part
was
to
in
play.
Aston Villa dressing room, if I was Delph, I'd get the ball and run at Gerrard straight away.
Yeah.
Because he's not played much. The last time he played, he was sent off. He's not as quick as he
You
was.
saying you see him as a bit of a weak link?
No, what I'm saying is it's his first game back.
Yeah.
You know, I think he'll be a bit nervous, Macca, a little bit, coming back into the side. So if I was Delph,
A little early test for him.
I'd run him, test him out.
Okay, well, whoever wins this one is going to make it through to the final. Again, that you can see live on BT Sport, of course, and they're going to face Arsenal. Right, we'll talk about the goalkeeping moment in just a second, but we have to give huge credit to Reading for the way that they played yesterday.
Well, fantastic, and we all know what this FA Cup this season has provided. A lot of shocks, and we nearly had one again. They took Arsenal right the way to the end. A couple of deflected shots and a couple of scrappy, ugly goals, but unfortunately we're settled on a big goalkeeping mistake.
Yeah, there was one early on, a lot of question marks over Szczesny at that point, but it's the life of a goalkeeper, David, isn't it? You make a mistake and it can cost a game.
I've never made a mistake at Wembley.
Okay. I like the way you added at Wembley on the end there.
Unfortunately, I made a couple in the FA Cup, but it's a cruel moment, given they had such a fantastic game leading up to it as well, to get them into the extra time, making a wonderful save off the header. But that's the goalkeeper's lot, isn't it? And as you said, Shay Given's going to have a massive performance today to keep Liverpool at bay.
Absolutely. Round of applause for Reading, the way they played yesterday, but congratulations to Arsenal. So, all of these boys have been lucky enough to make it here to Wembley. It's something that every player dreams of, and every fan.
The FA Cup is special. I want to play for Liverpool because I love them. We haven't won a cup in a while. We haven't won the league. We haven't won any of them. If we got knocked out straight away, then we would have been devastated.
Into Benteke.
On the chest.
Oh, that's fabulous!
Into the top corner. Great. The first win FA Cup. Steven Gerrard has always been great at free kicks.
Well, there's only one man who's taking this.
He bended it, but it went up and then down into the corner.
He's done it, and it's that man again. Out to Hill.
Go in, go out, then left foot, top corner. Fantastic.
What a way to introduce yourself.
I didn't even know who he was before the goal.
Coutinho has it.
He took 2 quick touches to the right,
Coutinho!
put it into the top corner. Balotelli was standing over the free kick. Lallana ran in.
And it's in by Lallana on the rebound!
He slid on his knees for ages. And was getting serious now against Leicester.
Bacuna onto his right foot.
Bottom right. I really like that goal. No one likes the baggies.
Villa can break here.
How fast Sinclair runs. Good skill.
And Villa are off to Wembley.
I felt pretty happy. Played a 1-2 with Henderson.
And that's neat and tidy. Here's Philippe Coutinho.
He drilled it hard and low into the bottom corner.
And Liverpool are through to the FA Cup semi-final.
I've never been to Wembley. I really want to go. Wembley must be really big. Most of the people in the world can get in there. I don't care what the score is, I just want Villa to win. It would be really nice if Gerrard won this FA Cup.
Who's going to win?
Villa. Liverpool. Villa. Liverpool. Villa. Liverpool.
Oh, that is lovely. And here they are, both 7 years old. Tom, who's a Villa fan, and John Paul, who's a Liverpool fan. I wonder which band his parents liked. And here they are, giving us a wave on Wembley Way. Isn't that lovely? That's what this is about.
That's amazing. I think I speak for the four of us here, Jake, and saying, yes, we were lucky enough to play here, but when we were young, we were all those kids. I was certainly one of those children.
When did you first come here?
I came here when I was 12, and my father brought me. And I'll remember it for the rest of my life. The first time I was here, I came to watch Everton play Watford in the FA Cup final. Incredibly special moment.
Lovely, lovely.
That's crazy. I mean, they're 7 years old, 3 years older than Jack Grealish was when Villa were last at the cup final.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. That's another example of a kid who's grown up at a football club and he gets his opportunity today. First trip to Wembley, come on.
I was 15. It was Manchester United versus Crystal Palace, a 3-3 game.
And what about you?
Yeah, I came to watch Everton in the cup final here long time ago. Can't even remember who they played. Was it Coventry? I'm not sure, but it was a long time ago. So long ago, I can't even remember who they're playing against.
Lovely. So there's only one of us that dreamt of playing at Wembley. Didn't manage it. Right, this isn't the only big game on BT Sport today. We've got a cracker for you a little bit later on as well. Despite both struggling this season, the Milan derby remains one of the highlights on the Italian football calendar. Can Mancini's Inter leapfrog their city rivals tonight? You can see it right here from 7 o'clock on the European Football Show. Right, so the final is within touching distance, and many Villa hope to rest on the resurgent, sizeable shoulders of Christian Benteke. We'll hear from him next, but here it is. London with the BT Tower standing proud a few miles south of Wembley Stadium. This is our focus today. It's the FA Cup semi-final kicking off at 3 o'clock. Welcome back. Steven Gerrard starts for Liverpool today. Daniel Sturridge not fit enough to be in the 18. Shea Given in goal, one of 4 changes for Villa. Gabby Agbonlahor also unfit. And this match, of course, follows on from a week where, once again, Liverpool and football stopped to remember the 96 who lost their lives at Hillsborough. But Liverpool, not the only football club to have been touched by tragedy. 30 years ago, Bradford were also in mourning.
It looks so inconsequential. It looked like a tiny piece of paper and a tiny fire. I even think now, to this day, somebody might have been able to put their foot on it and stop it, and history would have been different if they had have done.
Why I did it, I don't know, but I got my staff, my police truncheon out to try and prise the floorboards apart to see if I could either see what it was or get at it. But the smoke then just started to get a little bit more, and at that time, I tried to clear the area around. The people that were there watching and enjoying the game were reluctant to move. I genuinely didn't think it was going to get out of hand.
It's a tough watch, but it's an important one. One day in May, the story of the Bradford City fire is on BT Sport 1 on the 11th of May from 9:30. And how poignant that 30 years since that terrible tragedy. Bradford gave us one of the stories of this FA Cup season. A wonderful run, however, the semi-finals and just beyond them. Today it's Liverpool and Aston Villa who've made it this far. And for Villa, it's time to rely on the resurgent shoulders of their striker. A man who can be called upon in the big moments.
How big a penalty is this? To win it for Aston Villa, which he does! Drama keeps on drama! 3 priceless points!
We're in injury time. There's a lot hanging on it. And also to stop that kind of run that Villa had at the time. What were you thinking when you stepped up there?
That I will score. And especially at that moment, I can't doubt. Otherwise, I miss for sure.
The goals weren't coming then. And I asked you if you were feeling the pressure. And you said you carry that weight on your shoulders all the time. Is that weight a little bit lighter now?
Oh, yeah. I still have pressure. But I prefer to have pressure and with scoring goals. With no chances, it's hard. I prefer to go back home and maybe miss a penalty or miss something. But without chances, you can't really be frustrated. When I was with Paul Lambert, I wasn't fit enough because I just came from a long injury. So, yeah, you can show me the statistic, but I wasn't fit enough to perform like I used to perform.
The shackles are off him.
It was just about giving him the stage.
The first thing he said, you have to play without fear. Simple. He gives me a lot of freedom, a lot of responsibility. Mentally, I'm more stronger than before because of him.
Has the team changed in the way they feed you chances?
Yeah, now we try to play directly. They say to the lads that we have to use our strength, so maybe the pace of Gabi and the power of Christian.
Do you enjoy that responsibility?
Yeah. Yeah.
The expectation is something you like.
That means that I'm a good player or people care about me.
Come on, you're the beast. Is this okay? You like being the beast?
I'm quite guy. I was also quite guy in the pitch. So before they say you have to change it, they told me you have to be more aggressive. And I learned from that. Now I'm not a fan about anything. I don't say that I'm the best in the world or something, but I have a lot of belief of myself.
There's a lot of belief in the squad now.
Yeah, a lot of belief.
Suddenly it's all returned.
Yeah, and it's not just about the road. Now we can see it even on the pitch. It's a semi-final for FA Cup. It's going to be 50-50. Of course, they're favourite because they're Liverpool, but when you are in the semi-final, there's something every time special. So.
Well, you're the nicest beast we've met.
Thank you.
Well, I guess the Villa fans will be hoping he's a ruthless beast today. Look, 2 goals all season, then more strikes in the past 6 weeks than any other player in the Premier League. Explain that.
Well, you can explain in a few different ways, but confidence is a huge thing. He all of a sudden now believes, that his teammates are going to create chances for him. And I know as well as anyone, you don't feel as if you're going to... When you can't see your next chance around the corner, You get tight, you get uptight, you snatch at chances. All of a sudden now, he believes he's going to get another chance. And if he misses, so what? I'll score the next one. And now he's just playing with a lot of freedom. Obviously, he's back fit again. He had a big problem with his Achilles not so long ago, so he's back fit. But when he first came to this country, I thought he was a real player, and then he's obviously went through that quiet period, got injured as well, and now he's coming back to really what he was. This is him at the start of the season where, he literally couldn't score, he bouncing off him. He's just not expecting chances, but now he's expecting them, and when he gets them, he's taking them.
I think also, Michael, is that when the team's not scoring goals, and nearly every week under Paul Lambert we were saying how many goals Aston Villa scored. Oh, they've only scored 10, they've only scored 11, they've only scored 12, and suddenly new managers come in, the pressure's off, they get a victory, and it's just started to roll on from there. And this is a man, as Michael said, huge amount of confidence, and he'll go into today's game on good form and also with a great record against Liverpool and the Liverpool defenders.
And can we draw a correlation between what that man there, Tim Sherwood, managed to do at Spurs with Adebayor and what he's done here with Benteke?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing which Benteke said then in the interview was that he feels fitter now, or he wasn't as fit at the beginning of the season. I've heard that the Villa side have been having to work on their fitness, which was a problem they had at the beginning of the season, or should I say before Tim took over.
Yeah.
So now they're fitter. And Macca says fitness means you can close teams down, it means you can play at a faster pace, and then the confidence grows.
It's belief as well though, isn't it? Not just fitness.
Well, the worry for me with Benteke, if he has a bad day, there's only Bakuna, Delph and Benteke who've scored in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
Bakuna's got 1 all season, Delph's got 1, Benteke's got 11. If he has a poor game, where are Villa's goals coming from?
I think the main thing is that Benteke was worth £10 million 4 months ago. He's back to being worth £25 million, and hopefully he'll get his rewards. Tim Sherwood said recently this week that if he wants to leave, he can leave.
Yeah.
And the main thing is he needs to get his performance levels up to where he is now, and he needs to get his consistency levels as high as they are now.
And if you're just joining us, you know that Gabi Agbonlahor is not involved today, which is a big blow for Aston Villa. You actually popped over there, had a quick word with him. What did he have to say?
I did. He said that they would win 3-0.
Did he?
Benteke and Delph the scorers. He didn't say who did 2 though.
Okay, so he's feeling confident.
Feeling
very confident. So Aston Villa are out behind us, they're warming up, the fans are all around them, flags are waving, and there's Steven Gerrard gearing up to lead out his players for this warm-up in the FA Cup semi-final, knowing he is 2 Liverpool victories away from lifting the FA Cup. Do you sort of buy into this romantic Steven Gerrard story, or is it just another game for him?
Well, I think it's another game for him at this stage. I mean, obviously, if they win today and go to the final, he'll be desperate to lead his team out. What a fit and end to an unbelievable Liverpool career, an unbelievably talented player, world-class player. It will be a fit and end, but first things first, he'll be looking at today and trying to get a performance out of himself and his teammates.
And you can hear the applause there as Steven Gerrard leads the players out. What do you want to see from him today, Robbie?
Well, captain's performance, but it's not all about Steven Gerrard today. Look at Coutinho. I think he's now possibly Liverpool's most influential player the way he's performing. So, yeah, captain's performance of Gerrard to keep his head, but I think there's more important players in the team now than Steven Gerrard. Coutinho, for instance, and possibly Sterling.
I think the most important thing from Steven Gerrard as the skipper will be to win his personal battle. If it's against Delph, if it's against Cleverley, if it's against anyone, win your battle, and then the likes of Coutinho
and allow them to play.
Sterling, they will come into the fore. The fact that they've been named in the PFA Player of the Year, or nominated, and Sterling's in the young player, means they've been doing something right and something correct this year. And if they carry on the form and their teammates win the battles against their opposing players, they will win the game. It's as simple as that. This fella's been in wonderful form, whether he's assisting here to Daniel Sturridge in his first game back against West Ham, or Sterling, so dangerous, picks up those pockets of space in those areas where the defenders don't know where to push forward, drop off, and then he's thrown in this to the mix as well. He's added goals, and he's added great goals and important goals.
He likes to drift to that left-hand side and then cut it on his right foot, and the goals he scored, either one at Southampton, the one against City. You know, so where is his best position? Is on the left, cutting inside, or in the number 10 position? It's the good thing for Brendan Rodgers, he can play in a number of positions.
Yeah, Philip Coutinho's first game at Wembley today.
Yeah, his signature finish is left-hand side, cutting in onto his right and trying that bender into the top corner, and he's developed into a top-class player. And that goal against Blackburn, it just needed a bit of magic, didn't it? And he created it and got them through to well, what was a huge occasion today. Yeah.
And over the years, you've faced some of the best strikers in the world. What about this man's quick feet? How much would they worry you, Jamer?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at Coutinho, as you say, a scorer of great goals, not necessarily a great goal scorer. Whereas Raheem Sterling is the calibre of goals he's been scoring is fantastic. As you say, his quick feet mean that it's very difficult to dive in. You've got to try and stand up, and he can still get around you. I mean, I agree with Robbie that Coutinho's had a big influence, but I think Sterling's been more influential.
Yeah, and also he's got the weight of the Liverpool side now on his back as well. He's only 20. Yeah, he is arguably Liverpool's most important player. And for a 20-year-old kid, I think it's exceptional. And you see, he's been in sparkling form this year. He's Liverpool's leading goal scorer. He's in really good form. He scored against Newcastle at the last Monday, and he just looks dangerous. Every time he wants to go forward, he's the one who's making that last-ditch run, trying to get on the end of things. And here's his goal the other day, different types of goals.
Yeah, and there's a big debate, isn't there, where his best position is. Is it a centre forward? Is it wide? But I certainly don't think he's a fantastic finisher. No. I think he scored a lot of goals this season, not prolific. I don't think he's a great finisher. He likes running at players, and he can create goals. As Macca says, a real diamond in the crown of Liverpool at the moment.
All right, very good. Looking forward to commentating on this one, Michael.
I can't wait. This is just a great stadium, isn't it?
Well, as you can see, it's starting to fill up nicely now. Michael's going to head up to the commentary box, and then we are going to have a little wander around the pitch, talk about the crucial battles out there today, where this game is going to be won and lost as Wembley fills up for this semi-final. Well, I'm not sure what those sailors out on the water in the rest of North London are up to. Don't they know there's an FA Cup semi-final 30 minutes away from kicking off here on BT Sport? But it's not just FA Cup football that we bring you, loads of other stuff as well. European football, as well as that, the Women's Super League you can see here on BT Sport. And a week today sees the champions play the title favourites in the WSL, Liverpool up against Manchester City next Sunday from 5:45. As well as that, you can also see the start of tomorrow from the Premier League's under-21 competition. And on May the 4th, Liverpool take on Leicester City, with both sides looking to keep pace with Manchester United. Join Lindsay Hipgrave from 1:15. Well, we're soaking up the atmosphere. We're about to take a walk and take a close-up look at those players out there. And Roy Hodgson, the England manager, is also here, taking a look at the players on show. And a little bit earlier on, and we heard from him. Here's what he had to say.
Roy, can we turn to your managerial experience, please? How's this game going to be won and lost, having looked down the team sheets?
Well, I think Brendan Rodgers will be very happy that he can go back to his preferred system with the three back players. I think that Steven Gerrard's return will be of enormous importance. But of course, in terms of Aston Villa, I think they've done ever so well recently with Tim Sherwood, and there's a lot of impetus on their side. So I think with semi-finals, whatever managerial ideas you might have, a lot of it's down to the passion and the performance on the day, and games which you think are going to be easily won turn out never to be easily won. So I, like the rest of these 80-odd thousand people, just looking forward to seeing what transpires on the field.
Skirtle versus Benteke, or is it going to be Raheem Sterling, who you'll be watching carefully, of course? Raheem could be a match winner.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think both teams, it's great to see Benteke come back to his best, and he's a handful for any defence. But of course, I'm pretty sure Liverpool are happy to have Martin Skirtle back to try and deal with him. And Raheem, as you rightly say, Raheem's an excellent player. He can play almost anywhere along that front line, and with his pace, he causes all defenders a problem. But we saw Vlad deal with it very well in the World Cup, so he won't be the first fast forward he's dealt with. But I think there's a lot of good individual battles to watch today. I'm interested to see Fabian Delph, who's in terrific form. He and Jordan Henderson, that's another interesting duel. So I think the game throws up lots and lots of interesting duels, and I think the fans are in for a great afternoon.
Roy, thank you very much.
My pleasure, mate.
Absolutely, nice to get Roy's thoughts on the players on the show today. Let's speak to these two about the same thing as well. First of all, this midfield battle, who's key out there for Villa?
Well, I think Delph. And I think Delph, under Sherwood, he's made twice as many tackles. That says to me the manager fires him up. You know, he needs more goals to his game. Get a bit of stick there, Michael.
They haven't forgotten your links with Leicester, have they?
But as Roy Hodgson said, I think the battle between Delph and Henderson could be key. Also, Jack Grealish. You know, the manager's shown great faith in him to put him in the starting lineup. The worrying thing for Villa, Macca, the five who could play in midfield, they've only got one goal between them in all competitions this season. So the onus is so much on Benteke. Some of their midfield players cleverly have got to run past Benteke.
They'll have to help him out. They will have to help him out. They will have to go past Benteke and try and stretch Liverpool's defence. On the other side, if I was a Liverpool player, I would be targeting some of the players that Robbie's just said.
Who?
Well, I'd target Jack Grealish for the start. Yeah. Listen, he's
19 years old.
He's a great talent, 19. He's playing at Wembley. It's a huge occasion for him. Let's see how he is. Let's see mentally how strong he is. Let's see if he's got that bit of bottle to fight. I'd be targeting other players. I'd know if this is the first time certain players have played on this hallowed turf. And if it is, and they're a little bit nervous, or they've got a little bit of butterflies, I'd be finding out in the first 5 or 10 minutes when I'll be running at them.
You can see Jack Grealish there. Interesting line for you. 110 years ago, his great-great-grandfather won the FA Cup for Aston Villa. In some ways, he's kind of the Harry Kane of this new Tim Sherwood team. 19 years old, he's a Villa boy, and he's been given a great chance. David's popped over to join us. Mind the balls flying all around us. You've been keeping your eye on Shay Given. It's a big day for him today, isn't it? Even though he's had a great career and he's played in big matches before, the way his career's gone in the last couple of seasons, this is key for him.
Yeah, absolutely. But at 39 years old, obviously you're towards the end of your career, but it's his fifth FA Cup semi-final, as I said at the beginning of the show. I mean, I'm watching him warm up here, and he looks sprightly. He really does. I think he's more than up for it, and his performances leading up to this stage have been fantastic as well. I mean, massive save, one in particular against Leicester.
I wanted to ask you, Jamo, how would Brad Guzan feel at the moment, the fact that he's at Wembley and he's been not discarded, but he's been passed aside?
Well, we had this last season, Arsenal winning the first trophy in 9 years, and we had Fabianski playing instead of Szczesny, taking away the trophy. Obviously, Szczesny might have an opportunity.
How would you feel if that was you?
I would be devastated. I mean, I didn't play in the early rounds of the FA Cup in 2012 when I was at Bournemouth. And I was devastated because I wanted to play every game. But for Shay Given, who's been in this situation, where he's played all the rounds, then missed out in the final when he was at Newcastle in the second final. Yeah, it's a tough thing for a goalkeeper to have.
It can only happen as goalkeepers. Imagine it being a centre midfielder.
Do you buy into this first choice, second choice, cup keeper thing? Surely it's an FA Cup semi-final. These fans have absolutely been through the mill this season. Get your number one choice keeper out there.
This is the most important game of the season.
Indeed, but it's also trying to keep the changing room in a good spirit. And if you're winning games, making these changes, and everybody buys into it, then the team's going to get out better. Since Tim's been there, the team's picked up.
I'm with you. The best team should be on the field today.
Shay Given's performances, though, in the FA Cup have been fantastic. That save against Leicester is a save of the FA Cup.
Okay, well, look, the decision falls to Tim Sherwood. Let's hear from him.
Tim, only your 10th game in charge, and it's an FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. Wonderful occasion and a welcome release from the pressures of that battle to escape relegation as well.
Yeah, it is. Obviously no 3 points at stake, but there's an awful big prize at stake. You know, come back here in May and to win the FA Cup, that's our aim. No one remembers who loses in the semi-final, you know, so it's really important that we apply ourselves right and have a positive performance here.
Team news, Gabby Agbonlahor is out, hamstring. Was he close to making a game? Did you ever think about risking him for this one?
Yeah, we did think about it. I mean, it's, he trained on Friday and he felt a little reaction after that, so we knew that it was possibly too great a risk. You know, we don't need to lose him between now and the end of the season, and then he would miss a potential FA Cup final as well. So it was a risk too great to take, unfortunately.
You said prior to this match you've got a game plan for Liverpool. You might mix it up a bit. Give us an idea of how you see this one panning out.
Yeah, we have a game plan with every game we go into, you know, not only Liverpool, and we're going to try and impose ourselves on Liverpool. We respect that they got a lot of attacking threats, but so have we. So we're not just going to sit back here and take the punishment. No, that's the aim, you know. We want to try and impose ourselves on a good Liverpool side.
Enjoyed the day, Tim. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, it'd be great. You know, great occasion. You know, fantastic for our fans. A massive following down there, and we just hope that we do them proud today.
Thanks very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, a big day for Tim Sheridan, the players that he's picked. Among them, Ron Vlaar, who's recovered from injury, fought his way back in. Is this kind of his Villa swan song now? He's been here for a few seasons, a couple of months left on his contract.
Well, we presume he's going to leave, I think, Jake. I think that's easy to say. He's missed a lot of the season, so he's got a big part to play today. Yeah. He has to be fit and well. We know he's back in the team, but this is another step up. It's a huge occasion, an incredibly important occasion for Aston Villa and all the fans here. And he's marking arguably the greatest talented 20-year-old in Europe, so it's a huge test for him today.
Villa, absolutely. The win percentage with him in the team, Villa are better without him, the stats say. But
you're not a big fan, are you?
Well, he's a decent player, a good World Cup, but is he top level? You know, he's been linked with a few clubs. Looks like he might leave at the end of the season. Could he get in a top 4 or 5 club? I'm not so sure.
Okay. All right, boys, we've got to leave it there, running out of time. But certainly it's a big day for the Aston Villa fans, or Robbie Savage's best mates, as we're going to refer to them now. They've made it here to Wembley after a tough season for them. They would love their team to go one step further and take them to the FA Cup final. We'll talk Liverpool after the break. Liverpool fans making themselves heard in here. Next weekend from 10 you can see Fletcher and South, followed by Spurs visiting Southampton, 6th versus 7th, both fighting for 5th place. Don't miss that next weekend. Wow. Hairs on the back of your neck stuff, that, isn't it?
Listen, I was lucky enough to play for this great club, but Robbie said to me there during the break when the song was going on, he said, how awesome's this? It doesn't matter who you support. When there's an atmosphere generated by fans like this, Jake, there's something very, very special.
It's incredible, isn't it, Saf?
Well, to go to Anfield and play when they're singing on the Kop, and to have 45,000 Liverpool fans singing this here, all the scarves in the air, it was a wonderful sight.
OK, well, the job now then for the Liverpool players is to respond to that kind of atmosphere generated by these fans. It's a big day today for Skirtle at the back. He's been out for 3 matches, he comes back in. But Liverpool have spent the best part of 40 million quid on defensive reinforcements for a couple of seasons. But this guy remains key.
The best centre defender they've had for a long time, Jake. And Brendan's chopped and changed forward the back. 3 centre defenders, 2. The fact that Martin Skirtle has been missing the last few weeks and Liverpool took a tonking, and they did defensively against Arsenal a couple of weeks ago, shows how important he is.
Is he important because he's brilliant, or because the guys behind him are simply not good enough?
Well, there's a bit of a both, really. I think he's the leader. The fact that he's been here so long, his communication skills are excellent. He puts his body on the line all the time, and I think people feel more solid when he's there. I think you look around, you see, oh, Martin's playing today. He knows what we're all about. And when he plays, I think Liverpool perform much better. They're more fluid.
What will be important as well, though, in the midfield, one of them defensive midfielders, whether it be Allen or Henderson, screen Benteke, because what you don't want Skirtle doing is jumping over Benteke, committing fouls. You know, it's important one of them midfielders screen Benteke.
Okay, big test indeed today for Martin
Sorry,
Skirtle.
Jake, is that Skirtle will love the battle with Benteke.
Yeah.
We've seen his battles with Diego Costa. Benteke's that type of player. He'll be right up for this game.
We're going to be watching that one early on. Right, let's hear from Brendan Rodgers, the Liverpool boss.
Brendan, all the very best today. When Steven Gerrard's name was announced in the tannoy here, there was a huge roar from the Liverpool fans. Can you give us your thinking, please, in your team selection?
Yeah, no, Steven, obviously unfortunately he was out for the 3 games, and we'd arranged sort of behind closed doors games for him, so he's still fit, he's kept himself really well, and that's like a second home to Steven. He knows it inside out, and obviously days like today, you know, you want your experienced players to be able to perform, and obviously there's not too many greater experience here than him.
Yeah, right man for the occasion. How significant is having Martin Skirtle back in your side with how it's performed for you this season?
Yeah, well, both those players, both of them important to have back their experience, which is critical in days like this here. So, but no, we've obviously, unfortunate, we're without a couple of players as well, which we'd have liked to have involved in the squad. They've just missed out, but today very much the collective hopefully can get the result.
Yeah, Lucas Leiva's injured, is that right?
Yeah, both him and Daniel Sturridge were injured.
Yeah, any significance and sort of, is this new injury for Daniel Sturridge, is it a bad one? Any indications on how long?
Just have to wait and see how it develops. Really, it was one where we were hoping that maybe at the time he could have been fit for this game, but as I said, he still got the issue there, so we just have to wait and see how long that will take.
What would this say about Liverpool if you could win the FA Cup as a club and as a manager? What would it say about the development of Liverpool under you?
Well, I think this is the next step for us. We've progressed well, I feel, over the last 2.5 years. We've gone close, obviously with the league last year and a semi-final of a cup this year. But you need to make the next step, and today we'll look to make that next step to the final. And as I said, we know it'll be a tough game. Aston Villa are a good side. They're obviously without Agbon-Lahore, who's a big threat for them. But it still will be a very tough game. So for us, just got to control the emotion of the occasion, just play our football and be aggressive when we have the ball and without the ball.
Thank you.
Pleasure, thank you.
Well, certainly Brendan, after 3 seasons here at Liverpool, is well aware the time has come for him to pick up a trophy. Simon Mignolet, you've been down this end now watching him. He talked this week about being a far more aggressive goalkeeper since he returned to the side. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, well, we picked up when he got back in the side. The game we covered at Sunderland, and his starting positions from corners seemed to force him into going for crosses and dealing with things. Whereas I think before he was dropped by Brendan Rodgers, he was a bit hesitant, not sure what to do, got himself in a bit of a flap, if you like, because he didn't have that confidence. Whereas that confidence he's got now is shown in his performance since he's been back in. Yeah, there's been the odd mistake, but every footballer makes mistakes. I think he's back on it again.
All right, let's talk about this game overall then. If we were covering this match at the back end of 2014, few people would give Villa a chance in this, but the way they've changed under Tim Sherwood with the results they've picked up, there is an opportunity for them today.
Well, Villa have got nothing to lose. You know, the absence of Agbon-Lahore, possible slight injury. You know, Tim Sherwood's thought maybe he's going to miss, if he played him today, miss a few Premier League games. I think that's a big sign. And if you're in that Villa's dressing room, you're the underdog. You've got nothing to lose. Staying in the Premier League is it. But they would have won an FA Cup final. But I just think Liverpool have got a bit too much from today.
Where's the key battleground out there for you today, Steve? Is it in that midfield who can get a foothold?
The midfield's going to be a huge battle, Jake. For Aston Villa, it's keeping the likes of Coutinho and Sterling quiet. For Liverpool, it's keeping Benteke quiet. They're the people who put the ball in the back of the net. Defensively, do not make mistakes. The game was decided yesterday on mistakes. Do not make mistakes.
OK, thanks, boys. Right, we've walked all the way around and arrived here by the tunnel. In just a matter of moments, both sets of players are going to be emerging from here for this FA Cup semi-final, the prize for the winner. Arsenal here in the final at the end of next month. Stay where you are. Wembley, it makes dreams it breaks them. You saw the outpouring of emotion from the Villa fans when they won their quarter-final after a desperate season of struggles. Well, it's not exactly gone to plan for that man and Liverpool either this term, but one of them will end the season in the FA Cup final, and we'll find out who today. In the company of Michael Owen and Ian Dargan. Gentlemen, the fans have done their bit so far. It's now up to the players.
Yes, it is, Jake. A day of knife-edge tension always. Semi-final day. We saw yesterday, last night, how one moment of madness, one howler, can decide the whole thing. Steven Gerrard appearing at Wembley for the 36th, and he hopes not, final time, back in the Liverpool side today. How important is that, Michael?
Well, I think it's important not just for the Liverpool team, the fans, for himself as well. He wants a great end to his Liverpool career. And obviously this is the real stage to show your mettle. He's done it so many times over the past. Certainly another big performance or two left in the legs of Steven Gerrard.
Teams are on their way. Arsenal awaiting in the final on May the 30th. Great run for Aston Villa in what's been an otherwise troubled season for them. They not only want to stay in the Premier League, they want to win the FA Cup as well, for the first time in their case since 1957. Claret and blue at one end, and the red of Liverpool at the other. It's quite a scene and quite an atmosphere as well here, I can tell you. They've been making a great noise, the fans, pre-kick-off. Let's give you the team news. A big blow for Aston Villa. Gabby Agbonlahore's hamstring injury means he can't be risked, though he was very close to fitness. Charles Nzogbia comes into the team. So too does the fit again Ashley Westwood, who fills in for the suspended Carlos Sanchez. Veteran Shay Given, who played in the finals 17 years ago for Newcastle, keeps his job as Villa FA Cup keeper. Nathan Baker starts in defence with Kieran Clark injured. As for Liverpool, confirmation that Steven Gerrard gets his first start in over 2 months for the club as he aims to end his Anfield career with an FA Cup win on his 35th birthday next month. Lucas is out with a thigh injury and Daniel Sturridge has lost his fight to be fit. Martin Skirtle returns from suspension to strengthen that defence, and with Jordan Ibe cup-tied, Lazar Markovic returns. Mario Balotelli is among the substitutes. How's it going to pan out tactically, do you think, Michael?
Well, what an occasion. Wembley at any stage of the competition, at any stage of your career is huge, and Tim Sherwood has breathed new lease of life into Villa since he took over. The injury to Agbonlahore means it's a 4-5-1 formation for the Villains, expecting Zogbia and Jack Grealish to tuck inside with the width being provided by the fullbacks, Bakuna and Richardson. Sherwood won't want to lose that midfield battle. Brendan Rodgers, he looks to be going with a quartet in midfield, which is something we saw earlier in the season. Raheem Sterling's got a key role to play up front, but the key battle could be at the other end of the pitch. If Martin Skirtle can keep Christian Benteke quiet, Liverpool are in business. Easier said than done.
Yes, it is. It's a Wembley debut for Brazilian playmaker Felipe Coutinho, who scored 2 vital goals on the cup run that's got his club this far. Says he's always dreamed of playing here. One of 6 Liverpool players making their debut in the stadium today. So too is 19-year-old Jack Grealish, only his 5th start for Aston Villa. 110 years since his great-great-grandfather Billy Garrity played in Villa's 1905 cup-winning team. He still has the picture of his great-great-granddad on the sideboard at home, so it's a bit of a fairy tale for him and a big role for him today. Brendan Rodgers, despite his big name, is looking to reach his first major domestic final. And within there, Tim Sherwood, how about that? FA Cup semi-final in only his 10th game as the Villa boss. Tim Sherwood did lose a couple of semi-finals. He knows the pain of that with Tottenham as a player.
Some would say the semi-finals is the worst time to lose. Well, at least you get a huge day out in a final. This is a sickening time if you do get knocked out at this stage. Big stakes on the line here today.
Liverpool have won at this stage the last 5 times they've got to the last 4. Liverpool in a change strip of all yellow today, and it does look like, as we thought, they are going to play 3 at the back, and the sort of box midfield that we saw from them earlier on in the season, Michael.
Yeah, that's right. I think Joe Allen, we expected him to play there. There's a little bit of doubt who would play as the other holding midfield player, whether it be this man Henderson or Steven Gerrard. Well, it's Henderson, Gerrard and Coutinho up in behind in support of Raheem Sterling.
Aston Villa's first semi-final since 2010, when they were beaten 3-0 by Chelsea. Liverpool did beat Everton in the semis 3 years ago, but lost the final to Chelsea that year. You said big day out, Michael. I think it's a pretty big day out, this semi, especially for the Villa fans. We've had a bit of a trophy drought, going back 19 years since they won the League Cup here under Brian Little against Leeds. Dwight York among the scorers that day. Here's Benteke's first involvement, very much the danger man, full of goals at the moment. Liverpool know he's the man above all others. They have to stop. Moreno is the player down injured. Gerrard is beaten in the air by Nathan Baker. He's had an injury-riddled season, but did very well when he came on at Tottenham in the 1-0 win at White Hart Lane last week. Now here's Grealish, the 19-year-old, with his first involvement. He wins a free kick.
That's a little bit reckless, isn't it, from Chan? Grealish is away. First of all, the left arm, then the right arm. He does actually spin around and connect with the ball, but lucky to escape a yellow card so soon in the game.
Yes, I think only the timing of it did save him there. Delph plays it diagonally. Benteke is the target. Villa will have to just tweak the way they play a little. Tim Sherwood's been telling me, because of Agbonlahore's absence. They don't have that searing pace that he brings to their forward play.
No, and it's been interesting. I thought Zombie and Grealish had played just tweaked inside as we see Agbonlahore. Interested spectators today, but interesting just to see how Villa have set up. They really are pushing on the 2 centre-halves, or 2 of the 3 centre-halves in Lovren and Chan so far, with Benteke pushing up against Skirtle. So really is a man-for-man sort of situation up there, and it's Villa's doing, really. I'm pretty sure Tim Sherwood has told them, push on, tried to press them early, a little bit like when we saw them against Arsenal the other day. Liverpool failed to handle them in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. It's a little excerpt from one of their previous times in North London. Here's the man they call Concrete Ron, some of the Villa fans anyway. Ron Vlaar, he has had a few injuries this campaign. Now Bakuna, the Dutchman at right back for Villa today, with Alan Hutton among the fairly lengthy Villa injury list at the moment. Here's Ashley Westwood. Westwood's last appearance at Wembley was in the League Two playoff final some 3 years ago for Crewe Alexandra. He did win. Booming header from Lovren, a defender with a point to prove after his troubled opening season. Here's Markovic looking to run Richardson, who fended him off illegally by the look of it.
He fancies his pace there, doesn't he, Markovic? And you can see the right arm of Richardson, and again, it's probably the timing of the foul that means Michael Oliver's kept his cards in his pocket.
Played deep. Baker got a clever header to that to get it out of harm's way. It is a shame for Gabby Agbonlahore. He hasn't made this Wembley Day, and for Lucas too, who's never played in the stadium before and was really looking forward to it, but he's picked up a thigh injury in training. Here's Sterling. Looks at the referee for a free kick, doesn't get one. Here's Coutinho. Now Joe Allen. Liverpool will look to get their slick and clever passing game going. A terrific run through the middle of the season to really get themselves into top 4 contention. That's starting to look a bit of a distant dream now, particularly with Manchester City seemingly on their way to a win over West Ham today. Villa, by the way, aiming to reach their 11th final. Both of these teams have won the Cup 7 times. Only Manchester United, Arsenal and Spurs can beat that. Moreno again, looking for one down the side. It's a clever ball. He's found Coutinho. Sterling's waiting in the middle. Gerrard's arriving. Cut back and then Allen's shot is off target. Well, he doesn't get many goals. He got one the other night against Newcastle, and he's obviously got a bit of a scent for it now.
Yeah, he made a lot of forward runs in that game against Newcastle, playing in more of a sitting role today alongside Henderson. I don't think he'll be breaking forward as much as he was, but it was half a chance, wasn't it? His first half chance we've had of the match. Good run from Coutinho, just brought his man inside and then give him the double movement down into the flank. Lovely bit of movement.
The throw goes Liverpool's way. Tim Sherwood, who has won 4, lost 4, drawn 1 since taking over. This is his predecessor Paul Lambert, who started this FA Cup run. It's the first time Aston Villa have had to leave Villa Park on their run this season. Sterling. Henderson lined it up, but the radar was out.
Yeah, ball just bouncing around. I think Liverpool will be pretty happy the last few minutes, just gaining a bit of ground, aren't they? Aston Villa's.
Brendan Rodgers, agonising near miss in the title race last season, agonising near miss in the Capital One Cup this year when Chelsea beat Liverpool in the semi-finals, despite the fact Liverpool played pretty well in both games. Here's Leandro Bacuna, forward by Westwood, then cleverly Westwood again, and good ball, and Benteke found a fair bit of space. Flack stayed down as well. I think he thought he was offside for a moment. He wasn't. Here's the cross. Gerrard wins it back. Now the counter-attack's on for Liverpool. Coutinho, Sterling making the angled run. Vlaar got an important touch on that. That was right up Liverpool Street there, the chance of a fast break.
Yeah, it was a fantastic break, and I'm not sure whether Raheem Sterling made the right run, because Gerrard was powering through the centre as well.
Here's Grealish, determined run from the teenager, and Skirtle has to get there to give away the corner.
Yeah, lovely play from Benteke, good centre-forward play, just chesting it down for Grealish, and that's great to see. Positive running, things happen when you run at defenders. He's got a corner out of it.
Getting the return ball as well. Big danger here. Benteke was quite unable to reach that in. Zogbia had done some good work.
Well, Benteke, I think, is telling Zogbia just to hang it up to the back post, but I feel as if a goalkeeper can always come out and collect those balls, and I like it when a wide player actually takes a risk. OK, that one was a little bit high, but at least he put a bit of pace on it. Gives the centre-forward a chance. The long, floaty balls gives everyone a chance to organise themselves in the middle.
Zogbia is the player replacing Gabby Agbon-Lahore today. He's done pretty well since Tim Sherwood came in. There is a new vibrancy about Villa over the last couple of months or so. As Markovic picks a good ball, doesn't he, for Sterling, who wants to run at those central defenders. He's on his own, he goes all the way. And that's a good shout from Shay Gibbon. 39 tomorrow. 11 and a half years at Newcastle. He was playing in the final in 1998. Played every round the next year until the final when Ruud Gullit dropped him and put Steve Harper in. A lot of these players have got a bit of a backstory in the competition, and they're hoping to write a happy next chapter here. Grealish coming deep. Instructions from his manager, along with Nzogbia, to play almost like a number 10, both of those behind Benteke. Get up around him every time they can. Let's aim towards Benteke. He's looking to mix it up, Aston Villa.
Yeah, mix it up. I'd do exactly the same if I was Benteke. Actually get out wide, pull on Chan. He's probably the weak link in the air of the back three. Skirtle very strong in the air. Lovren doesn't mind a challenge either. So pull on Chan, try to rough him up a bit. That's exactly what I'd do, just playing on the inside left channel as Benteke.
You do get the feeling Benteke is destined to play some kind of central part in the drama. He has scored 4 in 5 Premier League games. He's played against Liverpool for Aston Villa, including 2 in a 3-1 win at Anfield. Cleverly. Here's Westwood. Villa are at a stage just at the moment, no matter what the odds layers say, where they believe every game they can play and they can win. And there's Nzogbia! The goalkeeper got a touch on that. I think Mignolet. Was a fair old effort from Charles Nzogbia.
Well, again, it's Benteke playing in that left channel. It's his little flick that started the move off, really. And Nzogbia, as soon as he gets half a yard, I do fancy that was going over the bar. Mignolet couldn't really take any chances.
We want that taken again. Yeah, definitely was going over, but of course the keeper doesn't know that. Michael Oliver in charge today at Wembley for the second time in 3 weeks. He headed the trophy final. North Ferriby United against Wrexham 3 weeks ago. And the flag goes up. A bit careless, the offside, and that ends an impressive squall of pressure from Villa.
Yeah, it was only just, wasn't it, right under the assistant referee's nose there, and half the blame's got to go to Bakuna as well, and Nzogbia was getting back on side as quick as he could. The fullback's just got to assess the situation and think, just give it half a second more, he'll be back on side.
Very strong, winning the header. Skirtle likewise at the other end. Again, Vlaar is in. Now then, how quickly can Liverpool develop this? Not quickly enough because the flag's offside.
Yeah, I think it was Raheem Sterling there again. A little bit lazy play this time from Sterling. Needs to get, if you can centre forward, you have to get back in quickly and into line quickly, and you see he's just straight offside.
Benteke was a little too strong for Emre Can. Delph, Grealish. Villa fizzing the ball around with some confidence early on. That's Ron Vlaar. World Cup semi-final and FA Cup semi-final, all in the space of a year for him. Kieran Richardson laid inside towards Fabian Delph. Being watched by the England manager Roy Hodgson here, one of a few. Like Sterling is in possession now. Coutinho. Vlahs everywhere at the back for Villa so far. Here's Coutinho. Now Emre Can with a bit of grass to move into. He thought about the shot, I fancy, for a moment. Instead it's Markovic. Can again. Well, it nearly threaded its way through to Coutinho, who'd made a good angled run. And now Villa looking to escape. Oh, and there was a wonderful opportunity for Nzogbi. He could have found Benteke, he didn't quite. And that was a massive chance for Villa that kind of went begging.
It was, what a break. You can't really blame Nzogbi there. He's tried to thread it through, but Lovren gets a real important toe onto the ball just as Villa was breaking. We mentioned Agbonlahore's pace, that they may miss that, but there was certainly a lot of pace on the counter-attack there. 2v1. Liverpool won't want to find themselves in that situation again.
After all the early shocks in the FA Cup this season, it is 3 Premier League teams who are left at the end of it all. Claiming a handball and getting it as well.
Too many complaints there about Moreno. It certainly hits his arm.
It's one of those that probably wouldn't be given inside the penalty area, though, isn't it?
Certainly not. There was no intent there at all, was there? And interesting, the assistant referee was right next to it. He didn't flag either, so...
Quite executed. Right, Grealish with the pass. Yesterday's results mean that Aston Villa still have work to do to retain their top flight status, which they've had since 1988. They're only 4 points clear of the bottom 3. Acuna with the header. Then Moreno. Baker under a bit of pressure from Steven Gerrard there. Westwood making an impressive return to the starting lineup in the anchor role in front of the Villa defence. It's a hamstring injury lately, fit just at the right time with Sanchez banned after his rather silly red card last week at Tottenham. But don't forget, you can see the Milan derby tonight, Inter against AC Milan. They both had troubled seasons, but the bragging rights, of course, are always huge in that one. Always a massive game in Italy. Tonight at 7 o'clock, available on the BT Sport app as well. Still waiting for a breakthrough goal here in the FA Cup semi-final between Aston Villa and Liverpool. Not among the crowd today, by the way, Randy Lerner, the Aston Villa owner. He did want to come, but there has been a family bereavement, so he's stayed at home. I understand he is watching the game on television in the United States. Given. Brad Guzan has to stay on the bench again for the FA Cup. That's Villa's policy, and they carry on with that. Given did help out with the coaching earlier on this season when a couple of the staff left quite suddenly with the various problems that have beset the club this season. Gerrard round the corner, too far ahead of Markovic. Steven Gerrard hasn't played, or started anyway, the last 12 games for Liverpool, going back to February the 10th against Tottenham. There was the 38-second cameo, of course, against Manchester United, which ended with the infamous red card. from that band today. Gerrard's ball's a good one, in towards Sterling. Wanted a bit too much time, Delph wasn't going to give him that. It looked like it might have been a corner, but wasn't.
No, I think he's got the right call on that one, you see. Just clips the back of his heel, doesn't he, Delph? Just touches the back, but certainly I don't think that's enough for a penalty.
Certainly no appeal from Sterling or anybody else in yellow.
Yeah, that's normally the big giveaway, isn't it? I know that happened to me and I thought it was a penalty. You'd be screaming. Some people would chase the referee, not that you should do that, but there's certainly no appeal from Sterling. I think that almost answers the question of whether it was or not a penalty.
Delph's crossfield ball, he might have to get used to playing at Wembley. Fabian Delph, his first 5 England caps this season. Baker on the header, booming header forward from him. I saw an article with Nathan Baker saying the only time he'd ever been to Wembley was as a fan to watch England play Spain. So quite something to be actually playing here, and of course all these players want to be back here in 6 weeks' time. Delph, here's young Grealish. Nice triangle work, Grealish. Wins possession back cleverly, looks to make progress here, and couldn't quite find his way through the thicket. That will be an Aston Villa free kick, just a little late, the challenge on Westwood.
Well, that was a little foul. Sometimes you see studs going in there, don't you, and it can be a quite nasty one, but certainly nothing of the sort from Sterling, as we see again. Stephen Gerrard cleverly did so well there, just a cut across Gerrard, but Gerrard, you can see him at pains not to touch Tom Cleverley, give away a penalty. He does really well to avoid him, and fair play to Cleverley. He didn't go down either.
Enzogbia, enigmatic player, Cleverley, that took a deflection and went goalwards and landed on the roof of the net.
Well, his late runs are causing Liverpool a few problems. You see there, another late run from Cleverley. He doesn't look, he just turns and sweeps it, tries to get it in the box.
The usual argy-bargy inside the 6-yard box. Tough one for the referee to keep tabs on. And Zogbia to swing this one in. It was well defended by Liverpool, in particular Joe Allen, one of the smallest guys on the field. This time he's beaten in the air. Benteke looking to turn onto this one. Hacked away by a grateful Lovren. The flag will go, and Liverpool is pointing out to the referee that Villa do have a player down, injured here. Might be Baker, I think, the big defender. Yeah, and he's had enough problems with injury this season.
Well, the way he's holding his head, it doesn't look good at all, does it? I suggest it's something. Yeah, it looks like his knee, doesn't it? Where the physios are treating him. Hard to see what happened. He goes for a jump, it might be the way he lands. It seems nothing there, does that? And he just takes a little. Well, it's a late reaction, isn't it? So that'd suggest it's not something that's so serious.
Well, he's had problems with his knee this season. He's spent most of the 4-month period between November and March out of the team. Just one appearance in that time. I think they're going to have to make the change. And that's a real blow for Aston Villa, because they lost Kieran Clark last week at Tottenham. They do have the central defender Jonas Akore, the Dane, and Matthew Lowton, the fullback. I would think it will be a job for Akore to come in and fill in, but it's getting to a point almost of last man standing among Aston Villa defenders at the moment. That's a tough one for Aston Villa and Tim Sherwood. It's Moreno inside to Gerrard. Sterling here looking for a back header, which certainly was a possibility had he got a bit less on it. If he'd looked to skim that off his head, it might have done the trick.
That's right. I think if he had a bit more awareness of what's around him, fantastic little diagonal run. He just didn't know where Shay Given was. I think he's just tried to get a little bit less on that, just get a little flick. If he had known that Shay Given had stayed at home, he might be able to have jumped, chested it, and almost spun and volleyed it. As we say, Okore just waiting to come on. Bakuna's just slotted into the central area. And cleverly, he's been playing right back just for the last minute or so while they wait to get this substitution on.
So poor old Nathan Baker, his race is run, and on comes Jonas Okore, Danish international, who had injury problems of his own not long after joining the club. For about a month there, he picked up a cruciate injury and wasn't seen again that season. The scorer of the goal that ended a long Villa drought in the Premier League this season against Chelsea, of all people. Okore's first touch. Getting to play at Wembley. Just having a look at Liverpool's shape and whether they've gone to play with 4 at the back now. With Chan playing at right back. We'll just watch that. Markovic lays it back. Sterling. Markovic again. Nice so far. Coutinho. Moreno. It's well defended by the workman-like Ashley Westwood. There's Lovren, the £20 million signing from Southampton inside to Joe Allen. Good high pressure from Aston Villa, but cleverly's pulled up for the foul. Pretty even, Stephen, sort of contest so far, Michael, this.
Yeah, it certainly is, and as we see, cleverly just making a foul on Moreno. I think because it's even, I'm not sure Brendan Rodgers is too happy, and you just referred to it before, but Liverpool definitely switched to the 4 at the back. Steven Gerrard now playing in behind Raheem Sterling.
I think it's fair to say Liverpool haven't quite hit their highest gear yet, which is not to say it won't happen shortly. Here's Chan. Dug out a cross, which Vlaar deals with. Henderson. Gerrard to chase it. What's written in the stars for him in the rest of this season, you wonder? Oh, Bakuna's header wasn't a good one. It's gone behind for a corner. I think he'll settle for that, because it could have gone straight to the feet of Coutinho behind him.
Yeah, I think if he had just had a little think to himself, who is behind me, then he wouldn't have tried to get up so early for this one. It was only Coutinho, who's not renowned for being a good header of the ball at the back post. He certainly jumped too early.
Liverpool corner to be taken by Jordan Henderson. Joe Allen to pick it up. Coutinho was unlikely to win the header, you felt, against the big Villa defenders. Here's Coutinho. Good movement ahead of him. Henderson tried to cut it back. Okore needed a lot of touches, and Villa haven't really got this away, and they might pay. Coutinho! 1-0 for Liverpool! On his Wembley debut, Philippe Coutinho delivers
Aston Villa had ample opportunity to clear the lines, but once they didn't, what a fantastic team goal from Liverpool. And that little fella, the way he touches it, takes it all in his stride. Again here, Akore, poor touch, poor again from Delph, but look at this, for a first touch, second touch, and then hits it just before Shay Given can get down. I think it might take a little deflection, but that's poor from Akore twice, and poor from Delph as well. Lovely ball into his stride, and just there, I think it comes off Akore in the end. But that's a fantastic finish in the end from Coutinho. It might have been just going wide actually, but it does take a deflection from Akore.
Sterling looking to break inside. Well, Coutinho delivered winning goals against Bolton and Blackburn away earlier on in the competition. And despite the deflection, I'm sure he's going to be claiming that one. Liverpool wouldn't really care where it ends up getting attributed. But splendidly taken and fashioned by Liverpool, but sleepy defending from Aston Villa. They'll be kicking themselves over that. Coutinho round the corner. Here's Gerrard. Chan across the face of goal. Villa looking stretched at the moment. Coutinho's onto this one as well. No doubt the injury to Nathan Baker has definitely disrupted Aston Villa back there. And Coutinho was talking to the reporters this week and telling them how much he was looking forward to playing at Wembley for the first time, having heard so much about it. He's played a very, very important part here in his very first game in the stadium. Henderson, what a lovely ball that is. It's a difficult bounce for Chan, a bit too difficult as it turned out.
Well, here we see the goal again. It was a fantastic little bit of intricate play, but as you see there, it takes a huge deflection. Very hard to tell whether that was going on target or not, but Brendan Rodgers won't care.
And I think it would be a very, very hard man who tried to take that goal off Philippe Coutinho. He certainly wouldn't dare dream of it.
Well, he made two mistakes in the lead up to the goal. First, a poor touch, and he could have cleared it. And then it was almost a tackle for a second touch before Delph then give it away. Three mistakes in the space of a couple of moments for Aston Villa. And then it was slick, wasn't it, from Liverpool? Lovely little ball from Sterling into the path of Coutinho, and he did the rest.
Grealish ran into trouble. Liverpool obviously lifted by the goal. Extra ring of confidence about them now. Vital really for Aston Villa that they stay in the game in this phase. Grealish to Benteke. Now Nzogbia. Very good covering defending from the German under-21 international Emre Can.
Yeah, playing as a right back now, isn't he, Can, but did his defensive duties well, and they have looked a different team since Brendan Rodgers changed the formation. Been really on top for the last 5 or 10 minutes.
Delph helping it forward. Richardson. Benteke trying to give him the presence up front and the service. Skirtle getting the foot in. It's Kieran Richardson again. Not sure that was what he quite intended, but it found its way to Grealish anyway. Westwood. That'll be a Liverpool free kick. Villa frustrated at the moment as they try to claw their way back into it.
Yeah, some people will call it a little bit of experience there from Joe Allen. Some people will say he's gone down easy, but he's certainly buying a little time there, buying a bit of a foul, just making contact with Cleverley.
Having a real run in the side now. Joe Allen promoted here with Swansea in a playoff final, despite scoring an own goal that day. Here's Delph, quick feet from him, beautifully done that. Grealish, Delph's carried on with the run, here he is. Cut back, Benteke, 1-1! Aston Villa at level! Brilliant team goal! Nine goals in 7 games for Christian Benteke.
Well, it's Benteke who'll get the headlines, but this goal has everything to do with Fabian Delph. Brilliant play from the Aston Villa midfielder. Look there. He goes on a little mazy, quick feet, and he just doesn't admire his pass. He then gets on his bike, makes a great run, and he certainly picks out Benteke there as well. Brilliant play from Delph, and how many times have we seen Benteke just drift out as the ball's about to be crossed in? He pulls out onto the edge of the box, side foot finish, and they're back in the game.
Well, what a response from Aston Villa, and Benteke is absolutely flying at the moment. He's now scored in 6 of his last 7 Aston Villa games. That after Tim Sherwood had given him what he called a few home truths not long after arriving. And quite a response too from Delph, wasn't it, in the build-up to that, because he kind of played his part with a mistake in the build-up to the Liverpool goal.
It certainly was. You see so many midfield players do something good and then stand and admire, but he was off on his bike.
And here's Delph again. He was determined, I think, to do something about that error he'd made, and he certainly did. Grealish played his part too, the 19-year-old. Here's Nzogbia. Benteke keeping up his very good record against Liverpool. 5 in 6 he's got against them now. Coutinho, it's a bad ball cut out by Westwood, and suddenly the dynamic has changed.
Yeah, Delph's all of a sudden loads of confidence. You see him one-touch passing in the middle there. Here he is again on the ball, spraying the ball around. And after a slight mistake for the first game, he's starting to really up the tempo in that midfield for Aston Villa.
It is a key battle as always in midfield. Delph v Henderson, one of those little subplots, the two England colleagues against each other. Moreno's got some work to do here with Bacuna pressuring. Difficult bounce here for Skirtle. Benteke is challenging, pressuring him, and the referee says play on. Plays a good advantage because Liverpool had it anyway. I think he was going to give the free kick. Now it's Markovic. Well, the tempo of this has really picked up.
It has, and so's the quality. Lovely touch there again from Jack Grealish. Plucked it out of the sky. Kept possession for Villa.
And this looks promising again. Benteke kept it alive with Nzogbia. Again, it's Benteke. And they're really struggling to get the ball away from him. Now Cleverley's picked it up. And it's Liverpool's turn to look a little shaky here. Delph. Grealish. Going on and on. He had one to beat. And it was vital that Lovren made that challenge. Markovic. Splendid ball. Sterling needs a bit of support. Still Sterling. Cut back to Coutinho. Looking to bend one. Well, you've seen him do it this season.
Yeah, that's his stock shot, isn't it? Just to cut in inside on that right foot and curl it into the far corner. Fantastic pressure from Aston Villa. But then Liverpool broke. And when you've got the pace of Sterling, and you've always got a chance. As we see, Coutinho just trying to cut in on that favoured right foot of his, takes a deflection.
Steven Gerrard with the corner. What a reintroduction to the team in this frenetic contest. Lovren with the header, which goes wide.
Well, really strange. Everybody's got man-to-man. Okoye there has just almost swapped men with Vlaar, and ends up Lovren having a free header at it.
This coming Saturday, Fletcher and Sav as usual from 10 o'clock, followed by Southampton against Spurs, both on the European trail. That's from midday. And then the following Saturday, Fletcher and Sav again at 10 o'clock. And this time it's Leicester City. What a fight they're putting up at the bottom in fantastic form. At home to Newcastle. That's Saturday the 2nd of May from midday on BT Sport 1 and available on the BT Sport app. Richardson plays this one forward. It's Joe Allen. Well, the plot thickening all the time here. And Arsenal sitting, watching and waiting, knowing they're already there.
There's something you don't see too often, a foul throw.
It's a Sunday morning club game error, isn't it, usually?
Well, I don't think Chan's used to playing out wide, taking the throw-ins maybe, but I think it was a foot over the line that it was in the end.
The Villa fans making most of the noise just at the moment. Richardson round the corner, or attempting to anyway. And Christian Benteke, we had a feeling he'd have a big part to play today, and he has.
He certainly has, and he's been, last 10 minutes, really coming to the fore again, hasn't he? Using his power, strength, but I feel that goal was all about Fabian Delph and his good work, and not admiring his good work, but getting on his bike, as I say, making that late run. And it was a brilliant cutback to Benteke, who always loves to just loiter on the edge of that box.
Another one getting onto the Wembley turf seriously for the first time. He was on the bench when Belgium played England here. And to be honest with you, the Liverpool defence have been all out to contain him at times.
It's so hard to mark a man like that, that's physically strong, brilliant in the air, very quick, can score goals. He's got a bit of everything as Benteke.
Here's Chan, loves to rampage forward from that defensive position, and now he needs to get back because the break's on. Bakuna's found a good ball. It's Benteke. Usually most of the Villa attacking players ahead of him at that point. I think for Aston Villa is what a good performance they're getting out of Jack Grealish so far. And his 5th start, a reminder, for the club. Learned a lot on loan at Notts County last season.
Yeah, and I feel a lot of Aston Villa's good work is coming down their left-hand side. Certainly Benteke's pulling into that area. Grealish is doing well. A lot of the attacking players coming from over there.
Mignolet got his hand to that Benteke shot but was unable to keep it out. There's that high pressure from Aston Villa again. He's up to 12 goals for the season. That's his movement so far, Michael.
Yeah, I did say he's pulling on to Chan at the start of the game, and that really has continued, hasn't it, so far through this first half. He just likes that inside left position, getting a lot of joy out there.
I think there'll be a couple of added minutes at the end of the first half of what's turning out to be a fascinatingly poised semi. Is up. Emre Can, we're just keeping an eye on him over the last few minutes, wondering whether he's just carrying a little bit of a knock, but then he did go on that pacey run forward a couple of minutes back.
Yeah, he did, and obviously Brendan Rodgers is talking to his coaches about something, maybe not happy. Certainly Markovic is now playing ahead of Can, and Can continues to limp around, so it might be something that Brendan Rodgers is talking about.
We do have Javier Manquillo on the bench, the Spanish right back. Glenn Johnson as well, probably be ahead in the pecking order. Kolo Touré, the defensive players available. Here's Jordan Henderson. Gerrard's lay off to Joe Allen inside the fullback. Lovely ball. Moreno. That was a poor cross from him, really, and he had a couple of players in yellow shirts waiting for that.
Yeah, as soon as he played it in, he dropped to his knees in frustration, did Moreno. As you see here, he just frustrated. He knew he overhit it. But again, I don't mind that. I don't mind when someone's trying to play the right ball. OK, not every time it'll come off, but at least anybody can feather it into the middle with no pace and give the striker no chance. Crack it in there, give your strikers a chance, and he tried that. I'm sure next one will be better.
Possession being squandered in midfield. Here's Alberto Moreno. Reached the Europa League final last year and won it with Sevilla. And it's the FA Cup final in his portfolio. Allen, very nearly half-time. It is half-time. Liverpool going ahead with a goal from Felipe Coutinho, and they look to be in the box seat with Villa in some disarray defensively after Nathan Baker had to go off. But that man again, Christian Benteke, equalising for Aston Villa to climax a fabulous move, which seriously involved Fabian Delph. At the break here, with analysis to come from Jake and the boys, it's Aston Villa 1, Liverpool 1.
Villa's response to Tim Sherwood's appointment a few months ago has been impressive. Their response to going a goal down today, just as emphatic. Liverpool led for just 6 minutes, and it must be settled today, so we have a game on our hands. Right, next weekend from 10 o'clock in the morning, you can see the brilliant Fletcher South. That's right, isn't it, Rob? Yeah. Followed by Spurs visiting Southampton. That's 6th versus 7th, both of them in the fight for 5th. Well, right behind us at the moment, one man warming up all on his own for Liverpool is Mario Balotelli. And we saw a struggle at the end of that half there for Can. If he hooks him and Balotelli comes on, how's that going to work out for Liverpool?
Well, you would presume that Lazar Markovic might go to right back, right. Jake, and Raheem Sterling might go to right midfield the way Liverpool have set up, but they've changed formation so many times in that first half. I think it's anybody's guess, but I think it should be simple enough. If they stay 4-4-2, Markovic could go right back and Raheem Sterling could...
All right, so it looks like Emre Can struggling with injury. Talking of injuries, Villa came into this with 4 central defenders already unable to play. More injuries here, and it was that change really that was vital, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a huge blow for Nathan Baker and Tim Sherwood, wasn't it? And really it culminates in the goal. Lovely play by Philip Coutinho, nice pass through to Henderson. If anything, Jake, Aston Villa had to clear the lines. Corey was fast asleep, Fabian Delph was, but this was the pass that does it for me. Lovely little reverse pass. There must have been some good communication between the two boys' ends on the back of the net.
And communication from Aston Villa's point of view for this goal. I want to highlight Cleverley's body position in this goal. Coutinho makes a fantastic run, but I think as a midfielder, Cleverley's got to follow the run. I think it's lazy defending from a midfield play. Yes, Coutinho's got in and scored a good goal, but you've got to question Cleverley's desire to track him back.
OK, so that's Liverpool taking the lead. Do you think that was going wide?
Yeah, it looked as if it was going wide, but as Ian Dark said in commentary, you have to give the benefit of the doubt for Philip Coutinho in a semi-final on an occasion like this.
Sure, OK, he'll certainly want to claim that one. Some response from Villa.
Absolutely. I mean, going 1-0 down, you'd expect us to win, but again, as Robbie highlighted cleverly there, got to highlight Emre Can there. Your right back's out of position. It's a great run by Delph, great play by Grealish, and again, Benteke, as he is at the moment, bang on form.
And we spoke about the importance of Delph, didn't we, before this?
Jake, he shows brilliant footwork and, more importantly, a huge amount of energy. Unselfish run to get this side of Martin's scale. Puts it on and play for Benteke. That's 6 and 7 against Liverpool. His record continues.
Just look at the desire from Delph. You know, that is what a semi-final's all about for that guy. You know, he's leading from the front, his desire to get behind the back for Liverpool. Great finish from
You know
Benteke.
what I like? The fact that he's actually picked Benteke out. He hasn't just got his head down and slashed it across the box. He's lifted his head up. He's picked the main man out who's put it in the back of the net.
OK, well, it's all about being back here at the end of May and the chance to fight for this trophy. Stay where you are, because we can't split them at the moment, and there will be a winner today. Second half comes next. All at the break here at Wembley. Arsenal in the final is the prize for the winner. Teams on the way out in just a second. And as well as Premier League football, European football and the FA Cup, we also bring you the Women's Super League here on BT Sport. And a week today sees the champions play the title favourites Liverpool against Manchester City. Well, there you go, Aston Villa making their way out for the second half. Christian Benteke, the man who put the ball in the back of the net, keeping his hot streak going in front of goal. What can we expect in the second half? 24 finals between them, these two. Who's going to make it 25? Michael, Ian, all yours.
Yeah, thank you, Jake. By the way, that goal that Christian Benteke scored for Aston Villa was the first Villa have ever scored in the FA Cup against Liverpool since, listen to this, 1897, 118 years ago, in a semi-final at Bramall Lane. Liverpool have won the last 6 without conceding. Now that little run ends today. And the change that Liverpool are going to make, we were speculating at half-time, it isn't Emre Can who's coming off, it's Lazar Markovic, and Mario Balotelli is the man about to make an entrance. To say his season with Liverpool has been checkered would be something of an understatement, Michael.
Well, it has, but there's no doubt in his ability, no doubt in whatsoever. Whether he suits Liverpool's style of play is open to question, but he's got plenty of ability. And, well, Markovic was very, very quiet in the first half. I'm not sure whether it's a tactical move or whether it's an injury, but he was quiet, so the substitution doesn't surprise me.
Balotelli did play in the semi-final and final for Manchester City when they won the FA Cup in 2011. He's on now, trying to be a major player for Liverpool as they bid for this final in 2015. Here's Nzogbia. Now Leandro Bacuna. It's a good challenge to win the ball back by Lovren for Liverpool. Vla hacking it away. Anywhere would do in that situation. Westwood with a header. It's a real battle in that midfield. Another neat piece of play which brings a round of applause from the Villa fans from Delph. And away goes Nzogbia with a bit of room as well. Richardson. Chan got in an important block there. Goes a long way, still bouncing around dangerously. And then Chan gets it away. No whistle from referee Michael Oliver, who seems much in demand this season. Aston Villa far more of an attacking threat in recent matches. In fact, they've doubled their tally in the Premier League since Tim Sherwood took over. Here's Grealish finding a nice little pocket of space. And turning well too. Nzogbia looking to bend one. He hasn't scored all season, Charles Nzogbia.
Well, Grealish had the opportunity to shoot here. He decided to pass to Nzogbe in the end, and he had a similar scenario. I thought he maybe should have slipped it down the line for Tom Cleverley, who was just doing the overlap.
Allen spreads it wide. Now here's Sterling pulling out further to left-hand side, taking on Bakuna. That may be part of the thinking here, to get Sterling running up that flank of the Villa defence.
Well, fair play to Michael Oliver here. He spotted that, and he's in a great position as well. Talk about Sterling's pace. Michael Oliver had kept up with him. He was only 10-15 yards away in making that decision, and he needed to be, and he called it dead on. Just looking at the Liverpool shape again. It's the third time Brendan Rodgers has changed his shape in this game already. Coutinho on the right, Sterling on the left, with the three in midfield now, so more of a 4-3-3 formation.
Here's Jack Grealish again, taking on Charlie. He's having a very, very fine game, the teenager here. He's been with Aston Villa since he was 6 years old. Birmingham boy, the family live at Sutton Coldfield.
Yeah, very easy on the eye, isn't he? Almost glides over the ground, lovely touch. He's had a good game so far, as you're mentioning.
Here's Sterling. Joe Allen looking at the movement around him, which includes Moreno to his left, Coutinho. Deeper role now for Steven Gerrard in this ever-changing Liverpool formation, it would seem. Here's Moreno. Sterling to Coutinho. The quick feet, you saw that with the goal. Gerrard will think about the shot here. Two FA Cup ones for Steven Gerrard in 2001 and 2006, but both of those were at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. You might remember that 2001 game, Michael.
Yeah, I do, certainly, and obviously the second one that you mentioned, well, he was so pivotal in winning that trophy, wasn't he, for Liverpool? Fantastic venue down at Cardiff, but very hard to beat this place now.
Aston Villa, incidentally, were in the last final ever played at the old Wembley back in 2000 against Chelsea. That was the last time they did make the FA Cup final. John Gregory was the manager then. Team including David James and Gareth Southgate, Gareth Barry, Dion Dublin and Paul Merson. Some of those here today in various capacities. Westwood helps it forward. Gerrard, great biting challenge from him. Cleverly did well too for Aston Villa, who just at the moment are nobody's pushovers. Here's Gerrard, able to play like the quarterback role, if you like, now sitting deeper and picking the passes. That might suit him a little better. Chan to clip it inside. Difficult job for Allen to control it. Now Moreno. Balotelli's little layoff to Sterling. They've lost out and now the breakers on. How quickly can they do it, Villa? By Benteke, showing he can join in the play too from deeper positions if necessary. Cleverly's fouled. A bit clumsy from Moreno, no more than that.
Yeah, you can see he just clips the back of Cleverly's legs, and quite eager, isn't he, to win the ball as Moreno. Very honest as well, isn't he? When he makes a foul, he gives the thumbs up to the referee. A lot of people plead their innocence just to plant a seed for future fouls, but he's quite honest.
The thumbs up bit's almost unique, I'd say.
He's almost praising the referee for a good decision, isn't he? And admitting to making the foul.
Vlaar picked a very fine ball there, hasn't he? To Bakuna. Cut back, Benteke! Deflected! And straight into the arms in the end of a very grateful Mignolet. That might have ended up anywhere.
Well, we saw in the first half for his goal, and again, he's very reluctant to get into the box, which surprises me, Benteke. It's where you score your goals. He always tends to like to drift out on the edge for that pullback. He actually does really well to keep it low and hard. That could have deflected anywhere. Really difficult skill to try to master that one. Keeping it down when it just bounces in front of you.
Just a reminder these days, no FA Cup semi-final replays. It will be decided here today, if necessary, via a penalty shootout. A lot of football to be played before that, mind you. Westwood cut it out well. Now, Nzogbia. Aston Villa needed a big performance from Nzogbia today, stepping in for Agbon Lahore. Do you think they've got it, Michael?
Yeah, I think he's done well. He's played alongside Charles when he was at Newcastle. I think he's got a lot of qualities. He's strong, he's quick, good engine. Sometimes can just get his head down a little bit too much and almost fail to see any better options, but certainly got a lot of quality about him.
So the pick up for Kieran Richardson. Almost got himself into a spot of bother. Corey to get it away. Now then, here's Delph, finds Benteke, an instant ball from Delph. And that's nicely done too. Here's Grealish, Delph, chance, goal! Fabian Delph, Aston Villa coming from behind to lead 2-1. A remarkable turnaround.
Well, you just wouldn't see Aston Villa score this type of goal a couple of months ago. Full of quality, full of confidence. And again, it's that man Delph that makes a late break into the box. He starts to move off, plays a great ball, you see, he's just onside Benteke. But this is brilliant. And then this from Grealish is great vision. And everybody's scared stiff of bringing anyone down for a penalty. He tries to make himself big to Simon Mignolet. But Fabian Delph plants it low and hard past him. There's no more than Aston Villa deserve.
Set up one, scored one. Fabian Delph of Aston Villa and England. Hasn't scored in the Premier League all season, but he scored in the quarter-final. Now he's scored in the semi-final. What can Liverpool do about that? Chance to play it in Balotelli! Wonderful chance! And probably should have scored. Flag was up though. Flag was up, it wouldn't have counted. Balotelli relieved about that, I should think.
Yeah, it was a fantastic ball, wasn't it, from Chan? You see Balotelli, he's just looking, he just gets a little shove from Okore that just sends him offside. And that was a real collision in the making, wasn't it? He almost pulled out of it in the end, didn't really fancy that one, Balotelli. He's lucky that it was given offside, because if it wasn't, you could accuse him of pulling out, of not being brave enough in a situation where he could go and get his team back on level terms.
Having waited those 118 years for an FA Cup goal against Liverpool, Villa have got two. Villa's throw. Strangely, ever since conceding, they've been full of it here, and so have those fans too. They're struggling to wipe the smiles off their faces, a few of them. Can Liverpool come back themselves? Here's Bakuna. Richardson with the control, a decade or so, isn't it now, since he won his England caps, Kieran Richardson. Here he is in possession now. Some of his injury problems this season, that one was given away. His Henderson. Liverpool have come from behind before on this FA Cup run. They were behind at Bolton in the replay, won it 2-1. They were behind at Crystal Palace, they won 2-1. They need something similar again. Moreno keeps it in play. Here's Raheem Sterling, subject of so much newsprint over the last couple of weeks. Villa looking a threat every time they come forward. This time Skirtle is the player to get it away.
Yeah, well, Liverpool fans looking a little bit frustrated now, and they've got every right to be. Aston Villa looking in control of the game at the moment. Really have been. A credit to Tim Sherwood so far. 1-0 down, you can sometimes play as a player, you can lose your head, you can forget about all the things that you've worked on all throughout the week, but Aston Villa continue to play exactly how they started, full of confidence, as we see again. Benteke flicking the ball around the corner. This man's been pivotal as well in the game so far.
It's a lovely ball from him as well to Bakuna. Towards Benteke, they've got themselves in the mix there, the Liverpool defenders. It fell to Benteke as well. Two of them went for the same ball. Just at the moment, I think it's a little sign of where Liverpool are a little mentally in the game, just in this phase anyway. They have the players to turn it around, of that there's no question. One of them on the ball now, Sterling. Gerrard. It's a good ball here to Emre Can. Balotelli. Ron Vlaar hitting that as far as he possibly could. Tim Sherwood has always been a confident, upbeat sort of personality, and there's not too much doubt that that's transferred itself to the mentality of his team.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt, as I mentioned, Aston Villa wouldn't have scored that goal a couple of months ago. The confidence that they've got, midfielders breaking, strikers back healing, midfielders then getting into the box and scoring goals. We haven't seen that for a while from Aston Villa.
Moreno dispossessing his frustration as he bulldozes into the challenge there, having lost possession. He might be a little bit lucky to escape a yellow for that one from Michael Oliver, who's going to call him over. How benevolent a view might he take of that? I think that was pure frustration from the Spaniard.
Yeah, there's a bit of a totting up procedure going on as well, isn't there, with Moreno? That's quite a few fouls he's made so far. Michael Oliver just saying, no more, one more when you're in the book.
Not too much doubt, the referee in pretty generous mood. Trying to keep the cards in his pocket. Delph. Westwood. Nice. Cleverly, a lot of reports linking him with Everton, where he nearly went, of course, last summer. Officially still a Manchester United player, of course, on loan at Villa. Grealish and Delph very instrumental so far in this, well, excellent Aston Villa display, and Moreno gave it away to Grealish. Benteke, Grealish again, he's let it go, and Richardson couldn't keep his shot down. But Villa are threatening a third.
Yeah, brilliant play again. Grealish doesn't just pass and admire, he actually points, tells Benteke where he wants it, and, well, that just is on Richardson's wrong foot, isn't it? Sure, if he was on his left foot, it might have been a different story, but great running off the ball from Grealish.
Grealish, who was actually sent off in the quarter-final against West Bromwich Albion, had to serve the suspension as a result of that, but he started the last couple of Premier League games and he might be around for a while.
Well, he's been a huge difference between the two sides, and he's setting one up and scoring one. He's had more touches than anybody else on the pitch. You see central, and mainly in the left-hand side areas, with Westwood just holding fort in the middle, cleverly to the right. But I feel Delph has been a real thorn in Liverpool's side so far today.
Offside given against Balotelli, even though he didn't challenge for the ball. And there's Nathan Baker, who's picked up what looks like a recurrence of his knee problems earlier on and had to go off. And there's a smile on his face when he looks up at the scoreboard and sees his team leading by 2 goals to 1. It's interesting, Delph. He had a long battle to really establish himself at Aston Villa after his move from Leeds United. A lot of bookings along the way, but this has been a breakthrough year with his club and with England.
Yeah, it certainly has. Committed himself to the future as well of Aston Villa, so lot to look forward to for Aston Villa fans. A lot of good young players coming through. We've mentioned Delph, we've got Grealish as well, Ashley Westwood. Plenty of youngsters. Benteke's not very old either. They can consolidate this season, remain in the Premier League, then it'll be exciting times as Roy Hodgson looks on.
Gerard Houllier there next to him, won a few trophies in his time at Liverpool, didn't he? Now there is Delph again, who's looking the best player on the pitch just at the moment. Richardson. Can Liverpool find a way back into this, or will Villa make this period of superiority tower with another goal?
Well, they're comfortable at the moment. Liverpool are going to have to start chasing the game soon, but Aston Villa are comfortable. Benteke's given the back, well, the two centre-halves of Liverpool a real tough time at the moment. He's winning every flick on. Whether you play short into his feet, he keeps hold of it. If you play long into his head, he wins it. Hard to mark.
Westwood. Cleverly. Delph again is offering some drive as well as everything else from the centre of the midfield, and an inch-perfect ball to Bakuna. Cleverly. Grealish. Nearly for Benteke, just slightly under hit that time. But don't forget, tonight, 7 o'clock, more football for you. It's the Milan derby, Inter against AC Milan tonight from 7 o'clock. Both the teams have their troubles this season. That's always a big one though, isn't it? And it's available on the BT Sport app as well. Liverpool look a little shell-shocked at the moment.
Yeah, they just can't get a grip of the game, can they? They've had a bit of fits and starts, haven't they, so far? You know, they've had patches where they've looked really, really good, and they scored. It looked like they could go and score another, but so far in this second half, it really has been a controlling performance from Aston Villa.
It's Balotelli, missing recently with reported illness. And we'll get a free kick for Liverpool here.
Yeah, I think there might have been a little bit of holding of the shirt for Balotelli, as you see. Two arms go to push him originally, then the right arm is dragging his arm back. Certainly there's nothing there. It's for the first one Michael Oliver pulls it back for.
This is one of those situations really where, for one of the last times, Liverpool needs Steven Gerrard to become Stevie Wonder again for them. He's done it a few times in the past, and notably in the 2006 Cup final. His free kick fizzed in and well watched by Shay Given.
Well, it was a lovely ball, really was. Just looking for anyone to get any form of touch on it. Goalkeeper shouldn't be picking it up round his waist, should he? Okay, if it's high, should be someone just getting a little touch on that.
Appeared in the Premier League for 2.5 years, Shay Given, but he's the goalkeeper of choice in the FA Cup for Aston Villa this season. the way through the run against Blackpool, Bournemouth, Leicester and West Brom, all home wins for Villa, and now they lead again, this time at Wembley. Quite sure what the conversation was about there, with Tim Sherwood getting involved as well.
No, but Fabian Delph's out of position now. He was on this left-hand side, now he's on the right, so they've had to just shuffle across of Aston Villa in the midfield area. He'll make his way back over now.
Incidentally, before we go off the air tonight, in case you missed the Arsenal-Reading semi-final, there'll be a chance to have a look back at that again. I'm sure Adam Federici will be tuning in, mind you. Have to feel sorry for him, the Reading keeper. Now Vlah's got a bit of covering to do here. Got across quickly enough to snuff out the challenge from Raheem Sterling. Well, let's have a look again at this second goal of Aston Villa, because it was almost a thing of beauty, really.
Yeah, I just love the way Fabian Delph doesn't just play the ball out in midfield. He actually goes and gets involved again. He doesn't admire his first ball. Grealish plays a lovely little ball. He just has to check. Great first touch. Nobody can touch him in those situations for fear of giving away a penalty. And as soon as he's cut in there, you're just waiting for the net to bulge. It's one of the easiest finishes in football, just cutting in 8 odd yards out. You can hit it any corner.
Here's Delph again. Finds Benteke, flag stayed down. Now it goes up eventually. I think Benteke kind of knew he was offside. Skirtle's got involved in a rout. You wouldn't want to argue with either of those on the phone, really.
No, well, for starters, it was certain offside. Delph just needs to play it here. He just takes that extra touch, and Benteke's run is then mistimed. And you can see the frustration boiling over with Skirtle. Benteke just doing what most players would do, just waste a little bit of time, frustrate Liverpool.
During the diplomatic call, couldn't he, Michael Oliver? Sorting that one out. For the moment, anyway. The strikers kind of know when they're offside, don't they, Michael?
Well, you do, because, yeah, well, when you make a run, you actually time your run. As soon as a player goes to pull back his leg to play the ball in, that's a lot of the time when you set off or you run across the line and wait to actually make the movement forward and towards the goal. So I think Benteke knew that, certainly.
Just over 20 minutes remaining. Aston Villa's fans won't be counting any chickens at all. One or two might be dreaming of a repeat of what happened in 1957 when Peter McParland's 2 goals beat Manchester United. The last time Villa won the cup. Peter McParland, who will be 81 in a few days' time.
Well, we saw on the bench there 2 possible players that could be introduced by Brendan Rodgers, Barini and Lambert. He's already brought Balotelli on. A couple of other match winners on the bench, though.
Still nice ball to Emre Can. It's pretty easily cut out by Ron Vlaar. Benteke. Here's Grealish. And on the free kick here, the referee Michael Oliver was 2 yards away and said no to Charles Nzogbia.
Well, he was in the perfect position again, Michael Oliver. He decided against it. Looked as if it was just a coming together. I didn't think Skirtle made any movement towards Nzogbia. We'll see the replay shortly, I'm sure.
Liverpool needing somebody really to light the fuse. They've just looked a little flat. Can. Be a corner for Liverpool, and the big defenders have to come up here. Skirtle and Lovren. Skirtle's got a few, hasn't he? Important ones too, with his head for Liverpool. And we'll be looking get on the end of this one. Gerrard to take it. Skirtle was attacking it. He didn't get there. He's come up here to Sterling. Gerrard fizzed it. Still might be something. Joe Allen, great block. I think it was Westwood who got in the way of it, and he's still down. And the play will go on with Benteke. Bakuna, Benteke, chance for number 3. What a challenge by Moreno there to snuff out the danger. That was crucial. A real ebb and flow here. Now here's Mario Balotelli for Liverpool. Good, powerful run, Vlaar. Gets it away.
Well, this is probably the type of game Liverpool need now, end-to-end stuff. This is a fabulous tackle from Moreno. Again, it was a Liverpool corner. Aston Villa broke. It was 3 against 2. He saves his team there. He had options as well. I know Charles Nzogby was throwing his arms in the air. He thought he should have been played in.
Could be a big moment yet, that, in the match. Liverpool's corner. Henderson to take it. This one played by Shay Gibbon, who did play with Tim Sherwood at Blackburn right at the start of his career, Gibbon. Never looks that demonstrative on the sidelines, does he? Brendan Rodgers always thinking and trying to be a couple of moves ahead. I'd be thinking about whether another change could just change the mood music a little. Cut out easily by Chan. Coutinho, lovely looking ball that, and offside. Offside. It was a shame really for Liverpool because Coutinho's pass was a peach.
It was. I think Balotelli was certainly looking like he was in an offside position, and he was, wasn't he? Raheem Sterling was offside as well. Good decision from the assistant. Aston Villa make their first change, second change I should say.
So off comes Charles Nzogby here for Aston Villa. On will come a fit again Scott Sinclair, who scored in the last 2 rounds against Leicester and West Bromwich Albion, and has a Wembley hat-trick to his name, playing for Swansea in the playoff final in 2011. Westwood, I think, was injured making that block a few moments ago.
Yeah, it was a fabulous block, wasn't it? Here we say, a great ball from Gerrard, and well, this shot from Joe Allen was flying on target, wasn't it? And it just caught Westwood on the ankle. Can be dangerous that when you go to plant your leg and the ball actually hits you, and sometimes you can plant your leg in a real difficult situation. We saw a shocking injury to Alan Smith at Anfield all those years ago, something similar. Didn't look so bad for Westwood, thankfully. A brilliant block.
Glenn Johnson is going to be introduced here, an FA Cup winner in his time with Portsmouth back in 2008. One of those who played it in the final in 2012 when Liverpool were beaten by Chelsea. Quarter of an hour to go. Gerrard hunting the ball down. Here's Moreno, whose interception was near heroic a few moments back. Towards Balotelli. Liverpool need something from him now, from anyone really. Play goes on, even though Delph was caught. He gets up, typically. Did give a real message, didn't he, to the club in signing a new deal. Plenty of teams would have been in the queue to sign him, but no, he signed a new 4.5-year deal back in the autumn with Aston Villa. Offside. Yeah, Delph's quotes at that time, Michael, were interesting. He said, "I haven't forgotten what this club have done for me. I'm going to sign again."
Yeah, very refreshing to hear, because most people, most football players, they all want to reach the top of their profession. on a big money move to a top club. Could have turned a lot of people's heads, but full credit to him.
Joe Allen replaced here by Glenn Johnson, who's widely expected to be leaving Liverpool in the summer.
Yeah, I think Glenn Johnson will just slide into his normal right-back position, and Emre Can, he'll be pushed into midfield just ahead of Gerrard, alongside Jordan Henderson.
Put a little more power and physicality in there, Emre Can. Played very, very well for the German under-21s against England recently up at Middlesbrough, playing in his usual midfield position. That's Johnson's first involvement. And Liverpool were 1 down in the replay at Bolton with 86 minutes on the clock and still won. Sterling got the equaliser that day. He's chasing this one. But they've kept him pretty quiet, Aston Villa, in truth. Cleverly trying for Benteke to chase. He did ever so well with that, trying to link up with Scott Sinclair. It really would be heartbreaking for Liverpool if they were to fall at this hurdle as they did in the Capital One Cup earlier in the season. Here's Coutinho. Balotelli, Coutinho again. No, it will be a free kick. And it will be a card as well. And Delph getting involved in a series of arguments with the Liverpool players.
Well, it certainly looked like a free kick to me. I know Delph is arguing about it, and he's going to see a yellow card for it. I thought just as Coutinho was trying to play that ball in, Delph came quite late. If he touches him or not, it's hard to see. That happens quite quickly, but certainly Delph isn't happy about it. Whatever the situation, this is a dangerous place to be defending a free kick from with Steven Gerrard's around.
You've read all the stories about Gerrard wanting to end his Liverpool career on his 35th birthday by winning the FA Cup. A chance here for him to equalise. Oh, it took a deflection and Gibbon held it very gratefully.
Well, you could tell which corner he was going for, and that was the one to try to whip it over the wall, get it with dipping a little bit. Just come off Ron Vlaar's head, didn't it, into the hands of Shay Gibbon.
Unless Liverpool can score in the 10 minutes or so remaining, this will be Steven Gerrard's last Wembley match. Grealish driving at the heart of that defence. Benteke, just a slightly difficult angle, pulls it back, still might be something, but cleverly. It was a pretty poor effort from him in the end.
They look so dangerous on the break, don't they? Grealish, he's been at the forefront of a lot of them, and this was a tough ball, just bouncing a little bit, not easy to hit, but he had to shoot Cleverly.
Reminder on Saturday, Fletch and Sav as usual from 10 o'clock. That's followed by Southampton against Spurs, both shooting for Europe, of course. And match coverage from noon. And the following week, it's Fletch and Sav followed by Leicester. What a run they're on. At home to Newcastle United. Vlaar gets it away. It's getting late here for Liverpool now. Aston Villa are going to introduce Joe Cole shortly to replace young Jack Grealish. Can here, looking to thread it through. Great defending that time from Akore, who looked a little bit switched off for 5 minutes when he first came onto the pitch. It cost Villa a goal, but he seems to be up to speed since. Grealish again. certainly won't want to come off. Grealish. Here he is again. You notice he wears those, well, they're boys' shin pads with low-slung socks. Look at that. A lot of referees have told him, you should really get better ones, but he says, no, that's what I feel comfortable in. It's what I've always done. What about that, Michael?
Well, they do look a little bit too low for my liking, but what a game the young lad's had. It's his last involvement in the game. He's been brilliant today. These Aston Villa fans absolutely love this lad. He's one of their own. They've been wanting a youngster to come through the ranks for a long, long time, and they've got one, and he can play all right.
And that is claret and blue through and through. Jack Grealish. Might be a star of the future. He's already played for the Irish under-21 side. On comes Joe Cole. He's had 2 FA Cup wins at this stadium with Chelsea 2007 and 2010. Lovren goes long, looking for Balotelli. Richardson did enough. It will be another Liverpool corner, and their need is becoming desperate now. Gerrard to take it. Oh, and there was a chance there for Lovren coming up from the back. And they needed that. He needed it.
Yeah, he was stooping low, wasn't he, Lovren? But I think he's got to do better here. He gets a free header on it. Even if he doesn't score, he's got to keep it low, keep it hard. Anything can happen. Deflections, bits off the goalkeeper, but don't head it high into the stand.
The Villa fans in full throttle. Certainly critics of the way they all invaded the pitch after winning the quarter-final, but it was mainly an outpouring of emotion from supporters who've had a pretty tough time over the last few seasons with their club in relegation problems, as they are again this time, by the way. Nervy times now, not only for the fans but for the managers too. Ticks on to past 85 minutes. Johnson, Henderson. Oof. Well, Corey cut it out, and he'll tell Shay Given he knew exactly where he was putting it.
Well, Shay Given seemed relieved in the end. It wasn't the greatest ball from Jordan Henderson. It could have just bounced and gone into Shay Given's hands, but he didn't know that.
Another Liverpool corner. Coutinho, and off the line, Gerrard's header. Kieran Richardson to the rescue, and it seemed there like the fairy tale might be about to happen for Gerrard.
Yeah, that's the only problem with out-swinging corners. Very difficult to score from them direct. You know, that's as good as he could do, Steven Gerrard, and it's quite a simple clearance in the end, and that's the value of having people on the posts. Kieran Richardson, quite an easy clearance, and then, well, the less said about the follow-up attempt from Skirtle, the better, I think.
That's the value of it. Which, you were watching Norwich City's promotion game against Middlesbrough the night. They didn't have anybody on the post, and it cost them a goal. Close for Liverpool, but not close enough. And one of Balotelli's contributions for Liverpool this season was that late winner against Tottenham Hotspur at Anfield. They need something like that now. But you've got to say, Villa have been terrific today.
Yeah, they certainly have. Their fans are just starting to believe, aren't they? Liverpool fans, well, their hopes of winning something this season are fading away. They've only got 2.5 minutes plus injury time to do something about this.
Liverpool haven't lost an FA Cup semi-final since Crystal Palace beat them in 1990. But wait a minute, here's Balotelli. He is offside. He is offside. The whistle had long since gone. Let's have a look again. Was he?
Well, he likes to stand in an offside position to start with, doesn't he? And then he gets back and he's certainly onside. He is certainly onside, and that's a shocking decision from the assistant referee. It's not really a difficult one to make, you know. He's walking back and into an onside position. Oh, that's a poor one. That's a big one.
Given by John Brooks on this side. To be fair, Aston Villa had stopped playing, but it would have been an opportunity for certain for Balotelli.
He gets caught offside so many times, he almost stands offside, and a lot of the time he is offside. But that surely can't come into your head if you're an assistant referee looking across that line. Got to take every decision as it comes, and that's a shocking decision.
Gerrard, they feel the need to get it forward pretty quickly now, but again there's a offside flag, this time to deny a frustrated Emre Can.
Well, cast your eyes to the top of the picture. 3 Liverpool players, all offside. Don't think Can can have any complaints there. He's got that one right.
Well, they've started the celebrations, and they better hope they're not premature. Big underdogs today, Aston Villa. But everybody now starting to look at watches. Westwood looks to send it as deep as he can into touch. Ricky Lambert waits to come on. Of course, he had his own Wembley fairy tale with a goal on his England debut against Scotland. Off comes Moreno, but it's very late here for Lambert to do anything about this. Into stoppage time now. Four minutes of added time. Aston Villa 4 minutes away from what would be their first FA Cup final for 15 years. Johnson. It has to be long now. Akore wins it. Henderson looking for the right ball. Now then, Sterling. Now he leant back and it was a tired effort, really.
Yeah, never fancied him, did you? You know, the ball drops to him and, I don't know, got to do a lot more work on his finishing. There was no shape on it, there was just a lackadaisical effort. Need more, certainly when you're in the last kicks of the game. They're starting to celebrate.
It's been an A+ performance, this, from Aston Villa so far, but they still have a few moments left to hang on, and Liverpool will live in hope. Can. Here's Glenn Johnson. Lambert lays it wide, Henderson plays it in, and the header is over the top of the bar from Mario Balotelli. And will there be many more opportunities?
Well, it's a small chance. The ball is just a little bit far out, isn't he? He's having to go backwards. It's 11 yards out. Very difficult to get enough power on that floating ball. Not an easy chance from Balotelli.
Well, there's just an incredible party atmosphere going on to our left among the Aston Villa fans who've flooded down to London, down the M40, on the trains and on the coaches. Tim Sherwood wants that whistle, but it isn't coming just yet. Is there one last chance left in this for Liverpool? Chan. Sterling has to keep this in play. He has done. Cross goes a long way. Vlaar, who's had a stormer back there, got it away. Gerrard wide. Balotelli. Now or never, really, for Liverpool. Long-range shot from Lovren was certainly not the best option, and he must have missed by the best part of 40 yards.
Well, I'd be first to hold my hands up if that flew into the top corner, but what is he doing? 45 yards away, something like that. Trying to shoot, last minute of the game. You got all your men in the box. And guess what? Blast it, high, wide, predictably. Poor decision.
Villa are nearly there. They're hardly getting a kick in the closing stages. They're battling. The referee takes one glance at his watch and he blows for time. Astonishing, amazing Aston Villa today. They upset the odds and knock out Liverpool and go into the FA Cup final against Arsenal on May the 30th. And you've got to say, a heartbreak for Steven Gerrard. His Liverpool career will not end in an FA Cup final. But not too much doubt that Aston Villa on the day deserved that, Michael.
No, not much doubt at all, Ian. They were fantastic. You see what it means to Tim Sherwood. He really has changed the fortunes of this Aston Villa team. Not just in the FA Cup, but in the Premier League. He deserves this moment. Aston Villa were outstanding today. Some outstanding performances. Delph, Benteke, Grealish, Vlaar. To a man, they were brilliant and deserved their place in the FA Cup final.
Goals from Christian Benteke, keeping up his amazing scoring run. And then from, well, I think he was man of the match, wasn't he? Who would dispute that? Fabian Delph to give Aston Villa the win. Let's go down to Des Kelly, shall we?
Congratulations, winning goal. What a performance.
Yeah, great performance. It's been a tricky season for us, but the last month or so we've got going. We were confident coming into the game and we're happy to go away with a win. Finally we come.
Real belief in the side, because of course you had a goal down, had to battle back. You can see the new confidence Tim Sherwood has brought to you all.
Yeah, the gaffer's brilliant. He's positive with everybody. He don't panic. We've got a game plan, we've stuck to it, and you know, there's a lot of young lads on the team. Young Jack come in today and he was fantastic, and we're just happy we're through for the fans, and for the club it's huge.
It's a wonderful boost for you as well in that battle at the bottom of the table. It energises everybody.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're confident we'll come through it. We put that aside for today, and honestly, the next game we're thinking about is winning the Premier League.
And I bet you enjoy Wembley. You've had a couple of England appearances here. Can't wait for that Wembley FA Cup final next.
Oh, I can't wait for the final. To walk out as captain, it's going to be the highlight of my career, so happy days. I'm happy for the boys.
Enjoy the celebrations. Better join them.
Thank you.
It was absolutely a captain's performance today from Fabian Delph. Tears amongst the Aston Villa fans, and you can understand that. They've had such a hard season. They fought against relegation, and now they find themselves in an FA Cup final.
Yeah, and before the game, Jay, we spoke about the personal battles all over the field, and Aston Villa won the majority without a shadow of a doubt today. I thought Fabian Delph was excellent. The best youngster on the field by a long shot was Jack Grealish. I thought he was brilliant, and the main man, the centre forward who scores goals against Liverpool, was excellent again today in Christian Benteke.
celebrating with the fans as well. I mean, it's a massive win for them. I say, with all the pressure with the Premier League going on, fantastic day, well done.
OK, let's quickly hear from another Aston Villa hero. Shay Given is with Ray Stubbs.
Shay, what emotions are you experiencing?
Buzzing, obviously. You can see the support behind me, they've been amazing today, but I felt their team played well as well. I think we deserve to go through. We're going to the final at the end of May, we can't wait.
What was the key factor that won you that game?
I just think having belief in ourselves. I think we caused Liverpool lots of problems today. I think that's come from the manager. He instilled a lot of belief in the team. And I think if you look at the overall game, chances created, I think we deserve to win the game.
Great reaction to going down. Fabian Delph was a captain's performance today.
Yeah, Captain Marvel today. He's been brilliant all season, to be honest, and for him to score the winner today is stuff of dreams for him, but nothing more than he deserves. He's the hardest working player at the club and he's a great leader.
Stay up and win the cup, how about that?
Yeah, well, it's always nice. We've got a big chance now, of course. We can't wait to the final, and we're happy. We'll enjoy today, but roll on the end of May.
Congratulations.
Right, cheers.
So it's Aston Villa who are in the FA Cup final, and what a way to get there. What a winning goal, Robbie.
Fabian Delph, the way he drove forward, it was a decent finish, but I've never seen a Liverpool back four or back five attack so much without cover. He got in between the lines and he drove at that Liverpool back four, and it was a great finish. The desire, the determination, the energy Villa showed today just simply were better than Liverpool.
And they weren't out-tactic today, Liverpool, Steve. They were just simply outplayed.
Yeah, if anything, and you don't say this often this year, but it looked as if the Aston Villa players, Jake, had far more energy and far more intensity about them, and that's not something you'd normally level at Liverpool. And also, I thought Liverpool's decision-making at the end of the game was very poor as well.
And it's just the 10th match in charge for that man. What a game, what an atmosphere here at Wembley. These fans are loving it, and I'm sure you Villa fans at home are rather enjoying it as well. So, your team are up against Arsenal in the FA Cup final, and you can see that live here on BT Sport from 5 o'clock on the 30th of May. Yes, Villa may have been beaten 5-0 and 3-0 this season by the Gunners, but if this performance tells us anything, it's that if they play like that in a cup match, they can beat anybody. Aston Villa make their way into the final. We'll hear far more from the team next. Stay exactly where you are as we look back on this quite remarkable FA Cup semi-final, and you can see what it means to these fans. Some celebration among the Aston Villa fans filtering out of Wembley, but no fairy tale finish for Steven Gerrard's Liverpool career. But what a story. Remember, this is a Villa side who last month was still in the relegation zone in the Premier League and had very few reasons to be optimistic. They've climbed the table, and now they'll play Arsenal here for the right to win the cup, 58 years after they last lifted it. That's what it's all about today. But it's not just about the cup, of course. Michael Owen's come down to join us. This is all about momentum. This is a Villa side still fighting relegation from the Premier League, and this is only going to give them another boost.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of people say, can you concentrate on the cup? Can you concentrate on the league? You can't turn performances on and off. You either got it or you haven't. And the momentum has proven. It's gone from the FA Cup to the league and now back to the FA Cup. And they fully deserve their victory today. I thought they played really, really well. Some real standout performers for them.
Yeah, we spoke about desire, didn't we, on the full-time whistle, but the other thing they showed in spades today with both their goals, belief.
Yeah, and it was just they had more energy today. They had far more energy about them. And Fabian Delph, who's our man of the match, he was excellent, wasn't he? I thought he led by example. He was the captain for the team. We thought Steven Gerrard might lead the way forward for Liverpool, but it was on the other side. And you see Fabian Delph on the ball. He bears forward 20 times plus today. And you see good touch, lovely play by Grealish. Liverpool defenders backing off. Simple movement by Fabian Delph to move it onto his right foot. But I thought he should have been closed down far easier.
The worry for me for Liverpool was the amount of times they changed the formation. There's the three men in midfield. Delph gets in between the lines. And look, you've got to say, the desire to get back from the Liverpool midfielders there was non-existent. I thought Liverpool in midfield areas were overrun by Grealish, Delph, Cleverley, Westwood. They were simply better. Simple as that.
I mean, Robbie talks about a lack of desire there. There's no excuse to lack desire in an FA Cup semi-final, is there?
No, there isn't, but I mean, often you can say a team is bad but I think a good team makes them look bad, and today was a case of Aston Villa making Liverpool look bad. As you said there, the desire for the Villa team was from the off. Even going a goal down, they still wanted it more than Liverpool, and I just don't think Liverpool knew how to contain it.
Yeah, I don't think it was a lack of desire, because that's very harsh to level at a lot of the players, because they want to win the game and they want to win it enormously, but they just seem to have more energy. We're quicker, we're breaking forward quicker, and Liverpool players just look slow trying to chase these players back. Fabian Delph has never looked as quick on a football field that I've seen today. Jack Grealish driving forward all the time. Huge amounts of acres of space he had today, and that really surprised me in Liverpool's performance.
And on this pitch at Wembley, it can sap you. When you've got legs in midfield, when you've got legs all over the park, it matters in this place. And you know, with 10, 15, 20 minutes to go, you could just see that. I totally agree with Macro. I thought they just looked far fitter today, Aston Villa. It's something I didn't expect to say, but they had younger, hungry legs that were just powering up and down the pitch. And at the end, I thought Chan looked tired after the first half. Obviously, Stevie's getting on in midfield.
Yeah.
I mean, I just thought they looked younger, hungrier, leggier players today.
Well, this is what I was told before the game, that the Villa team that Tim inherited essentially wasn't fit enough. So they've been working on the fitness. They've had injuries trying to get them fit, but today it showed. I mean, Grealish was outstanding. He wasn't man of the match, but he was still outstanding.
Let's not forget, though, that Liverpool have played lots and lots of games, far more than Aston Villa today. I think it showed.
I agree with Michael. I don't think you can make excuses because they've played a amount of games.
Yeah.
I just think that today, where was Henderson? Big players didn't turn up. Sterling didn't turn up. Coutinho scored the goal, but where was he for the rest of the game?
I'm not buying the amount of games. Their passing was poor. Just generally, Liverpool's performance looks poor.
Okay, there's one incident I do want to have a little look at. This offside decision for Mario Balotelli. Should have stood the goal, right?
Well, the offside decision was wrong, Jake, but what I would say is that everybody backs off. You see Akore, he backs off in the end. And if he thought that this was onside, if he thought the decision was still running, he would have closed Mario Balotelli down for the shot. The decision was wrong principally. But you see the defender, marking Balotelli, stops and he sticks in the back of the net. So,
okay.
Not really.
So we're saying it was the wrong decision, but actually,
yes.
If play had continued, you think?
I think the defender would have marked him, yeah.
Okay, well, let's get the thoughts of the man. I'm sure had his heart in his mouth at that point when Mario Balotelli put the ball in the net with a couple of moments to go. What were you thinking?
No, I knew we had a good line there. I knew he was offside.
Of course you did, yeah. Well, he wasn't.
Was he not?
No.
Oh, no, we robbed him.
Tell us your emotions today. This is just your 10th match in charge of Aston Villa. This is looking like quite a good fit, Tim Sherwood and Villa, isn't it?
Well, it's going all right at the moment.
Yeah, not bad.
We're delighted with that, obviously. We're coming here and we're the underdogs today, but we believed in there that we could win it, and I think we outplayed Liverpool, to be honest, kept the ball off them, created a lot of chances, and they resorted to lumping the ball into our area, the last 10 minutes. So when you're doing something right when they're doing that.
And the key thing you said there, we believed we could win it. Was it the belief that was the difference today?
I think without belief you can't win anything, and the confidence was very low when I come into the club, so it was difficult to pick them up, but getting there, we've still got a lot of hard work to be done in the Premier League. We know that because there's all the teams at the bottom seem to be picking up points, but we just enjoy this tonight and then crack on next week.
Tim, we were talking about the fitness of your lads, and they just seemed to, your lads look fitter, stronger, even in the last few minutes, powering forward, the likes of Delph. I mean, have you been working on any fitness since you've been come in, or is it just a newfound
I like to
energy?
Train at match tempo, so it's high intensity, match tempo in training. I think they're fit boys, and we lost a few, to be honest, by training at a high tempo through injuries. But I'd rather, if they're not fit enough to play, I'd rather they be injured.
How important was obviously it was important, but how did you feel the importance of the equaliser 6 minutes after Liverpool had scored?
Yeah, it's important to get back in the game. When they scored, a little bit of quality there, and then Coutinho's got that sort of quality. I think we panicked just before that. It was about 2 minute period where couldn't get hold of the ball, and we've been suffering like that all season. But we couldn't manage to stem the flow, and they scored a good goal. But to get back in it so quickly was fantastic for us, and Benteke can't stop scoring at the moment.
Tim, I wanted to ask you about Jack Grealish. How good is he? Because you showed a lot of confidence in him. We know that you're great with a lot of the young players at Tottenham principally. How good is he? Because he was excellent today.
Well, he could be right out there amongst the best of them. You see how the ball is a friend of his. He likes to receive it. He doesn't even look at it. He knows where it is. Just shifts it. He's got to turn a foot. It takes a lot of knocks. People want to give him a kick. He's a big lad. You've seen the size of his legs there, and he's Aston Villa through and through. You know, he lives like a couple of miles from the house, from the ground. He just wants to play for Aston Villa, and I want to give him the platform to be able to do that because he's earned the right.
And Delph, the captain's performance, the winning goal. He was the best player on the pitch today, Tim.
Yeah, he's just full of energy, you know. But he's got more than that. I've told him that you can't just be running around all the time. You need to show some quality, what you possess on a more regular basis, and he's done that. You know, he's happy to receive the ball in tight areas. I'm telling him just to receive it. You know, let's play through midfield, get the ball. So you've got the quality to be able to do that, and you can score. He's nicked a couple of goals since I've been here now.
And it's time to reveal what you've said to Christian Benteke. What's happened there? Because you managed to do it at Spurs without Adebayor. Now you've done it here with Christian. What's been the conversation?
It's just a team effort, really, of just the lads telling them that to create chances for him. And him and Gabby are a major threat. And, I mean, Christian's goal ratio is 1 in 2. You know, he's a prolific goal scorer. You can't turn into a bad one overnight. It's just they're not loading the bullets for him to fire. If we can get the crosses into him, he will score goals. And that's what we've done, is just provided him with a bit more service. Keep him in the game all the time, try and hit him early. I think we had a blend today. We could play through midfield, as we did at times through Westwood and Cleverley and Delph, but we can also go direct, you know, so it keeps teams thinking, you know. We stretch him back. Christian does that, Gabby does that when he plays, so there's a nice little blend there.
What's this, with Leicester winning yesterday, obviously, what's this going to do for your battle with relegation?
Well, nothing. It gives it.
But it keeps the confidence going, doesn't it? I mean, it keeps a bubble around the club that's going to feed into your league form, surely.
Absolutely, but the league form's been all right. You know, we're just teams at the bottom keep winning. You know, so you're not getting away from anyone. We need a couple of wins to be sure there, and the momentum is fantastic for us now. We know we got an easy one next week. We got Man City away, so they don't come easier.
No, and neither does the final either. Arsenal here.
It'd be a great occasion, you know. But you can't win this cup with an easy route. You know, there's no such thing. So if you're going to win it, you're going to have to beat the best, and Arsenal are right up there.
You're an Arsenal fan. You used to play for Tottenham.
I'll get a good reception off them Arsenal fans.
I think you might enjoy that one. Well, I'm sure one of your players is already booking a VIP room in some nightclub in London for the next couple of hours. Go and enjoy yourself.
Thank you. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Cheers, Tim. Thanks a lot. Well done. What a turnaround at this club, eh?
Yeah, when he took the job, you know, people think he's a bit arrogant, self-confidence. I think you need that as a manager, and I think he's been unbelievable. He's had some tough games. He's come through them. I think he'll keep them up. And listen, they've got a real chance of winning the FA Cup.
His record was brilliant at Tottenham.
Yeah.
And it's been brilliant here, and long may it continue.
Absolutely doing a great job. Right, we're not just about football here on BT Sports. We've got a lot more to talk about here, but if motorsport is more your thing, getting going over on BT Sport 2 right now is the MotoGP. It's round 3 of the season. It's from Argentina. It'll start with the Moto3 coverage, then the Moto2, and then finally we'll bring you the MotoGP race. You can see this is what's happening at the moment. This is the Moto3 race, 15 laps to go. That's live right now over on BT Sport 2. And build up to the big race we'll get going at 7:30, the race itself at 8 o'clock. Valentino Rossi is leading the championship but struggled in qualifying. So if you fancy that, you can tune across to BT Sport 2. But I'm sure we would all suggest that for now, stick with us because we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to get the reaction from the Liverpool dressing room and we're going to find out just what this means for Liverpool. Where does their season go from here? Manchester City have won today. Their chances at the top 4 are so slim. Stay where you are. So the fans continue to digest and discuss this result as they leave Wembley. I'm sure Brendan Rodgers is doing the same with his squad right now. We will hear from him in just a couple of moments. But more live football follows on from us. We've got the European Football Show with Lindsay Hitgrave after this. Lindsay, what's lined up?
Thanks, Jake. Coming up straight after you guys on the European Football Show, we'll round up all the big stories, including Thomas Tuchel's appointment as Dortmund manager, and we have all the goals from Italy, France and Germany in the company of our experts, James Horncastle, Julian Lorenz and Rafa Honigstein. All that is coming up before our feature game. It's a biggie tonight. The Milan derby kicks off at 7:45. That's all with us, so head straight from Wembley to San Siro and we'll see you later.
Looking forward to it, Lindsay. Thank you very much. Big game there from Milan coming your way a bit later. Right, let's hear from Brendan Rodgers.
Brendan, we appreciate it's a massive setback. What's your initial assessment of your team's performance, please?
We were very disappointing. I thought Aston Villa were much better than us today. That's the overall feeling of the game. We didn't play. We looked very nervous for some reason. We're a team that's built on playing and passing and playing quickly, but we were very disappointed in that aspect, and I thought that they were much better than us.
Yeah. Anything in particular other than what you're saying there that was missing, do you feel, from your team today?
No, I just think sometimes whenever you want to win something so much, sometimes it can weigh on you a little bit, and I thought that for a team that has a lot of energy, but I didn't think we had any energy today. I thought our attitude is always fantastic. We've got a real good bunch of players, but it's disappointing in another big game that we, as I said, we didn't show that courage to play more football and want to get the ball. So whereas I thought Aston Villa did. I thought they had good energy in the team, and as I said, they obviously playing with that maybe less free, a wee bit more freedom. Sorry. But no, overall I thought they were better than us.
Key instance in the game, Mario Balotelli, an offside decision that was given late in the game. Have you had a clear view of that yet?
Yeah, it was very clear. It was a very poor decision by the official, because he's looking right across the line. He should be able to see that the fullback's keeping him at least a yard onside. So it was a terrific ball in. He's had a good touch, so he's in on goal. And like you say, he took it through and finished it. So you need that to go for you. Obviously Stephen had one cleared off the line. It was a good ball in, and he's got a great header on it. But apart from that, we were too passive in our game.
You have to learn from the adversity. Do you think it was dealing with the occasion? Is that something that is troubling you today?
Well, yeah, I think it's something that we need to improve at. I think there's been other games where we've dealt with it very, very well, but there is some games where we haven't, and like today, as I said, we just didn't play well enough. I think for us, we always have to focus on the performance, and if we do that, then normally we get the victories. But our performance today, to win a game of this, this importance, it wasn't quite at the level.
So push on and get a top 4 finish. That is really what you have to instill in the players now. Put this behind you and really strive for a top 4 finish.
Yeah, but we have to. I think, as I said, we it's an obligation that we have for the club and the supporters. It's a wonderful football club that has to fight right to the very end, and that'll be our notion right the way through.
Yeah, and that was my final question about what the Liverpool supporters will be feeling this evening. I'm sure you're all feeling it the same in the dressing room too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you lose a semi-final, any competition, and that's true. We've lost this year, and cup competition semi-finals. So, but we'll pick ourselves up again. We'll rally our way through to the end of the season. Obviously, can reassess it then, and the players, as you say, will have gained great experience from it.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
So Brendan's third season in charge without a trophy. Kind of felt like he was struggling to explain why Liverpool struggled so much today. But there is this school of thought that Liverpool win all the games, apart from the games they need to win.
You've got to say, in the last 3 years, the big games they needed to win. Chelsea last year.
Yeah.
United at home this year with a chance of going to the top 4, and today, and they haven't passed the test either time. So then you've got to question the mentality of the players. Michael and Jay know better than me at Liverpool. Why can't they win the big games?
Well, I would disagree slightly. Yes, they've lost big games, but as far as I'm concerned, the quarter-final was a game they needed to win and they won. Listen, it was against lesser opposition, I get that. They just fell short. I just don't think their performance today was of the quality it should have been. Well, Jake, it's hard to say, isn't it? They looked slower, they looked... they probably on the training ground, looking, playing, feeling, everybody's very confident going into the game, but when they got there, they were just out-fought to a certain extent, certainly out-energised by the Aston Villa side. That was something you wouldn't say 3 months ago.
But what the manager said, what the manager said was, perhaps he wanted it too much.
Yeah.
Chelsea last year, did they want it too much? United at home this season, did they want it too much? And today, they want it too much.
But they've beaten City at home. They've beaten a lot of big teams. I mean, last season I think they were top of the form table in the top 6 mini league, so they can win big games, all right. They were beaten by a better side today. I mean, it's all right making excuses why Liverpool were poor. Aston Villa were brilliant today, and I thought they ran them ragged physically as well.
And I think that's the key point, that Aston Villa came at this so hard that it made Liverpool look poor to start with. And once they got into that rhythm, and the thing is, they go 1-0 up. 6 minutes later, they give away a poor goal. Poor goal, as we highlighted with the defending. I mean, some lovely play by Villa, don't get me wrong, but essentially it was a poor goal from a throw-in at halfway line. that allowed Villa back in, then the momentum completely swung, and Liverpool were out of the game. It only looked like one winner from then on in.
Yeah, all great teams lose games, and sometimes you have to give a huge amount of credit to the opposition. The best players for Liverpool this year have been Sterling and they've been Coutinho. I know they were involved in the first goal, but generally that's all they did. In the end, Sterling was pushed out left onto the corner flag and didn't influence the game at all.
You almost forget, I suppose, in some ways, that Liverpool took the lead in this match. The job for Brendan Rodgers now, though, is to build a side that take the lead in a game like this and hold on to it. And he told us beforehand, didn't he? We now need to be a team that moves on to the next step. So what do they need to do?
Well, last season, they would go on and they'd score 2, 3, 4 goals and it'd be all over by half an hour in. You know, they blitz virtually every team at Anfield within the first 20 minutes. You just don't see that, you know, that attacking intent at the moment from Liverpool. Now, they can score goals, but they've tightened it up a little bit more at the back compared to last season. I'm not quite sure that was going in, by the way. I think the deflection from Makore's probably knocked it into the goal. But, you know, it's finding that balance, and in patches they've played really well this season. They were awful at the first part of the season, no question about it. But then, from the game on December the 14th away at Manchester United, they got beat 3-0, but they played a lot better. From then on, they've been absolutely brilliant, and they've just had another little stumble towards the end. They've got it in them still. I'm convinced they've got it in them still, but it's just been a disappointing season.
I think Brendan will know. He'll look at the 25 players in the squad, and he'll know he'll have to change 5 or 6 or 7 and to refresh the squad, bring new players in, and get some of the...
Where would you be looking to strengthen?
I'll certainly bring in a centre forward and another centre forward. I don't think in that area Liverpool are anywhere good enough to challenge for the Premier League and or in Europe. So I'd certainly be bringing players in there, and I'd be bringing defensive players in. You're going to have to bring a midfielder in, so it's easy just to say you need them all over the park.
Because they are bringing players in, but the players they're bringing in not necessarily taking them to that next level they want to go to.
No, and in this first year, he'll have looked at players and have thought, I can rely on him, I can't necessarily rely on him, and I can rely on him. And I think some of the players that he has brought in, he's thought have done well. Emre Can looks a good player, Jake. He brought him in for 10 million. He's a German under-21 player. He looks a really good player. I don't think you've got any qualms about the likes of him. But there's other players that he brought in and you think, question marks about that.
One of the big jobs, get Daniel Sturridge fit so that he can have a proper pre-season and a full season next year.
Yeah, easier said than done. I've been in that situation. Muscle injuries are a nightmare, and people say, oh, you know, go away and rehab and come back strong. You never ever come back stronger. From a muscle injury, it scars you, and it'll scar you for the rest of your life. You never come back better. You're only going to keep getting more and more, and that's the worry for Daniel Sturridge. He needs to get rid of them, but as I say, it doesn't mean you then start getting better because you get rid of them. You know, you just stay on a level then.
Okay, well, let's show you how the table looks at the moment, because Manchester City have been in action today. They ran out 2-0 winners. Spurs are leading as things stand, and this is how the table looks at the moment. The issue for Liverpool now isn't just the gap from them to the top 4. The goal difference as well is a problem.
Well, they're not going to get the top 4.
No.
Simple as that. The big question is, do they want to get in the Europa League? Because that might be the only way of getting in the Champions League next season. Because if the winners of the Europa League then qualify for the Champions League. I think Liverpool Football Club need European football, no matter if it's a Thursday and a Sunday, whatever.
And then commit to winning that competition.
Correct. Yeah, they went out. They went out the competition. You know, too easy this year.
Yeah.
You know, they need to get in Europe, Liverpool. That's what the football club needs around the world.
I think the challenge for 4th place now is nigh on gone, isn't it? They, you know, effectively 8 points behind. They've got West Brom away. They've got Hull away. Their fixtures they've struggled in the past. You know, they may look easy on paper, but actually they're very difficult. QPR at home, Chelsea away, forget about that. You're hoping that Chelsea have won the league by then for Liverpool. So those first 2 fixtures are going to be really difficult. But 3 weeks ago we spoke about Manchester City. Have got a good run of fixtures and should finish 2nd. They've struggled, but they've gone back on form today. And you think it's going to be impossible for Liverpool to
And Brendan now has to lift the players for those remaining games, and that's not going to be easy.
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about the players they brought in. Jan's had a decent season, but he's been playing out of position. And I can't understand how you're going to play a player out of position and not be having the success that you would expect from him when you got, like today, dropping him into right back and you got Glenn Johnson on the bench. It doesn't make sense to me. Play the players who play that natural position rather than playing the decent ones out of position. Jan was better when he was in midfield.
Well, maybe that's just a lack of faith, JMO, in the right back area. Maybe that's why he's playing Emre Can there. Glenn Johnson, I think, looks as if he's going to leave at the end of the season on a free contract.
Absolutely, but there was an opportunity to change that earlier on in the season, if not at Christmas.
Okay, well, let's turn our attention back to the team who did perform today, the team who've impressed us all today, Aston Villa, and one man in particular, Jack Grealish. Now, Tim's got a habit of doing this, hasn't he? He goes into a club and he finds one of our own, as we call them. It was Harry Kane at Spurs. It's Jack Grealish at Villa, and he's unearthed a diamond here.
Yeah, that's why I asked him, because I thought that was an area Liverpool could exploit because of his youthfulness, because of his inexperience playing, and this is a huge occasion. And he rose to the occasion today, and that normally speaks volumes for teenagers. We spoke about Raheem Sterling, Coutinho being nominated in the Young Player of the Year awards. Well, this kid today outshone the pair of them, and outshone the pair of them on a huge occasion. And I was thrilled to see Tim speak glowingly about him, because it looks as if he's got a hell of a future in front of him. It's
the amount of times Grealish, Delph drove at the Liverpool back four. I've never seen it, Michael. In commentary you were saying that they were so exposed at times, that Liverpool defence, but the pace, the energy of Grealish, Delph, even Cleverly was getting forward.
Well, he came on in the substitute in the West Brom game and changed the game. Yeah. And at that moment, I thought, hang on, this kid's decent.
Yeah. I imagine if you're the Villa fans, you're saying, come on, boys, do this week in, week out. Right, just to remind you that we've got a rather exciting football award show for you coming your way very soon. It is the Facebook Football Awards, which you can see here on BT Sport. And what's great about this is that you can vote. We're speaking to fans all over the world, asking them to vote for the best player, manager, young player. Who's had the biggest effect on you this season? Head to our Facebook page, facebook.com/BT Sport, and make sure that you join me, a certain Robbie Savage, and Rio Ferdinand on the 26th of May for the awards here on BT Sport 1. Right, stay where you are. In a moment, we'll relive yesterday's match between Reading and Arsenal. Don't move anywhere. So the sun slowly sets in North London. Been a busy couple of days here at Wembley Stadium. It wasn't just today's semi-final, of course. Yesterday saw Reading come here to take on Arsenal in the company of Steve Wilson and Danny Murphy. Here are the highlights for you.
Ozil, what can he create from here? A little bit of room to pick out. A great ball. Sanchez, great feed. 1-0. Great ball in from Mesut Ozil, and wonderful footwork from Alexis Sanchez. Reading are opened up. Arsenal have the lead in the semi-final. Got to be on their toes here, Arsenal. Nothing's won yet. Pogrebniak trying to scoop it into the danger area, and it's stopped on the line as it crossed. It's a goal. McCleary has equalised for Reading. And their dream is back on. Wojciech Szczesny thought he'd saved it. And Steve Clarke gives no reaction at all, but his side are back in this semi-final. Gareth McCleary's goal, it's 1-1. Towards the near post and off the woodwork, great header. As Gabrielli got his head on it, I think Federici's got a touch on that. Reading shirts desperately getting back. Sanchez, Olivier Giroud, good ball. Aaron Ramsey here for Arsenal. Federici stands up. Ramsey hits the post. The route to the final was there, and Aaron Ramsey hit the post.
Again, strength from Giroud, slips him in. Just here you think he's going to finish. Another good save. Tries to smash it with his weaker foot.
Alexis Sanchez. And again Alexis Sanchez, and Federici has let it go through him, and Arsenal are in front. His luck had run out. Federici's mistake.
I genuinely feel sorry for the lad. I really do. He's played ever so well and he's made some terrific saves, but that is a howler. I mean, we were questioning Szczesny, should he have done better, but
that is going to be replayed through Adam Federici's mind time and time again.
I mean, there might have been a tiny deflection on the way through, but it's still no excuse.
From Ozil, here's Ramsey, couldn't get it through to Giroud, it's come back, Ozil, Giroud onside, hit the post again.
I think Ozil should shoot himself here, but he's very unselfish, and again, find the post.
Arsenal are in the cup final. Arsene Wenger's Arsenal have done it again. But my goodness me, they made heavy weather of it today, again in a semi-final against another championship side, but they've done it, and there will simply be no consoling Adam Federici tonight. It is bad enough to lose a semi-final, but to lose a semi-final like that.
Yeah, poor Adam Federici, absolutely distraught after that defeat for Reading, but they're left with their heads held high. So it's Arsenal in the final. You can see that here on BT Sport, 30th of May from 5 o'clock. Look, Reading gave a great account of themselves. And Arsenal, last season it went to penalties. This year it went to extra time. But the key thing for them that Arsene Wenger will remind us is they win the game. That's what matters in a cup game.
And that's all that matters. Yeah. All that matters is winning the game. And, irrespective of Federici's unfortunate incident there, Arsenal with a better side deserved to win the game, but they won it.
So how do we see this final playing out? What do we expect?
Well, the fact that Arsenal have got a combined score of 8-0 against them this year, you'd fully expect Aston Villa to win the game.
Really?
Why not?
Didn't you expect Liverpool to win today, though?
Yes, I did actually, but I think the way the way Arsenal have played in the semi-final last year and the final last year, I thought they were disappointing. I thought they were disappointing yesterday. Yes, they got through, and the results, are all that matter. Of course they are. But the way Aston Villa played today, I think if they can have that same type of energy, I don't see why they cannot cause Arsenal all kinds of problems.
To the point of winning the game.
Because this is a different Aston Villa side that has lost 8-0 to Arsenal this year.
We've seen the final last year, Hull 2-0 up. Was it the header off the line? Could have gone 3-0 up. So Aston Villa, with their pace, with their energy, will come into the game. They could win it.
And imagine if Aston Villa are safe at the time, which is very likely. I mean, they'd be on a crest of a wave going into the last game of the season to win a trophy after all that time.
They're either going to be safe or not by then anyway.
You can't bet against them.
Well, you look at Wigan, they got relegated and won the FA Cup. So I don't, like Tim said, I'm not sure the league form's going to influence the performances. Gabriel Agbonlahor will be probably fit then, which will add another edge to them. I mean, as well as they played today, I think he'll add a very positive edge to them.
Sure. It will have a bear on it. What if they're relegated by the time the cup final comes round? It could have a massive bear in Premier League survival on what happens in the cup final.
I think the main thing
what does that do though to you in the cup
final?
If you're relegated, what does that do to you?
Well, you must be incredibly deflated because 7 days prior or 6 days prior, because the last game's on a Sunday. If it goes that far,
do you come into it and go right? Come on, lads, now we save this season.
Well, yeah, but you haven't saved your season because ultimately you've been relegated to the Championship. Yes, you can win a trophy.
2010, we were relegated against Chelsea, and you go out there with freedom.
Yeah.
And still get beat.
It's a great,
one of the big issues,
it's a great traditional cup final. These two teams are steeped in history, aren't they? And certainly in FA Cup history. So it's only right that these two sides should challenge for the final.
One issue for Aston Villa is going to be defensive problems. Nathan Baker came in today for Kieran Clark, went off injured. Tim Sherwood has said to the press now that it looks like it could be a season-ending injury for Nathan Baker. So they do have issues at the back.
Yeah.
It is. And as we saw with the substitution so early, I mean, that would be the only thing with the substitution being so early, that there was a bit of a mix-up. But then after that, Shay Given's hardly made a save today.
Yeah, Senderos is out, Kieran Clark's out. If that stays the same and Akore and Ron Vlaar have to play together, well, they certainly done all right for 60 minutes tonight, didn't they? And if they play together until the end of the season, you think that coming into the final, 6 weeks away, shouldn't be too much of a problem for them.
Okay, and regarding Aston Villa going forwards, I mean, the aim now, as we've already said, is for Tim to take this result and use it to give them that bounce in the Premier League. Do you think it's going to do that for them? Do you see them staying in this division?
Yes, I do. I thought it before today's result. And what he's done today as well, he's protected Agbonlahor. So he's going to have him fit, hopefully, now for the remaining games and for a final. So he couldn't have won much more today, Tim Sherwood. He's got one of his best players fit still, and he's got to an FA Cup semi-final, and I think they'll stay up.
And one thing Brendan Rodgers is doing at the moment, he's learning a lot about his Liverpool players, isn't he? Possibly more than he learned last year.
Yeah, and as Macca mentioned before, I think between now and the end of the season, he'll probably be learning an awful lot more as well, and a lot of the players, or certainly a few of the players, will be playing for their future, because I'm pretty sure Brendan Rodgers will have made up his mind on a few of them and thought, right, well, you're not up to the
you think so?
The standard. Yeah, definitely. Well, they're going to end up 5th or 6th in the league, not won a cup competition, dumped out of the UEFA Cup or the Europa League, that with a bit of a whimper. So certainly he'll be pointing the finger at a few of the players.
Yeah. Is he under pressure? Is that daft?
I personally don't think he's under pressure. No, I think people will. Excuse me?
Would he feel under pressure?
I don't think he'd feel under pressure. He wants to do well, and this will be a huge blow for him today. The fact that they've lost in the semi-final when they were favourites, and as Michael rightly said, they did go out as a bit of a whimper to Besiktas, who then lost to Bruges. I know this is not a strong Europa League tournament. The fact that you've got a Champions League place at the end of it suggests that they should have attacked that more. And I'm with Robbie. I'd be interested to see whether, where Liverpool finish this year, because you see Tottenham and Southampton. If Tottenham win today, everybody's concertina's below that top four, and it's how you're going to finish the season will be a big marker to last year. We spoke about Pellegrini. If he finishes 5th, he could lose his job. If Brendan suddenly finishes 7th,
listen,
there's huge question marks.
Now Jurgen Klopp's knocking about. There's pressure on every manager. Look, I think we should end with you, because you came here with Aston Villa. You did well in a semi-final. You come back again today, and they're in the final.
Absolutely, and as you said, I mean, the occasion's a massive occasion for them. For the fans especially, and I mean, I love the fact that it's at Wembley and not another neutral ground, i.e. a Premier League team. It's a wonderful occasion for them. They've got to go to the final. 58 years since they last won it. Jack Grealish was nowhere near being born then.
Any of the players born?
Were any of us? Were any of the players? That is a great way to end the show. Just to remind you that the Claire Balding Show is on BT Sport on Thursday evening. It's a cracking lineup this week. You can see it at 9:30 in the evening. A.P. McCoy, what a career he's had. Charlotte Dujardin and Victoria Pendleton, all on BT Sport 2 with Claire Balding this Thursday from 9:30. And that wraps things up. Boys, thank you once again. Enjoyed doing our JLS impression with the multicoloured mics here, pitchside at Wembley. And of course, we are back for the final. Make sure that you join us on the 30th of May. But right now, it's time to hand you over to Lindsay Hipgrave with the European Football Show. More great sport keeps on coming. If you want motorsport, you can see MotoGP over on BT Sport 2. That's underway right now. But now, Lindsay, it's all yours.
Thank you, Jay. Yes, James Richardson away, so I'm in the hot seat. The good news, though, James Horncastle, Julia Lorenz and Rafa Honigstein are with me. We'll have plenty of talk about Jurgen Klopp and his replacement, Thomas Tuchel. All the goals that matter. We've got the second half of Cagliari-Napoli and the Milan derby. It's all coming next.